I am going to be the chess boxing world champion. What the heck does that mean? What does it mean? Well, a couple things. First, the Fiverr guy that I paid to edit that video did a phenomenal job. Second of all, yes, I am going to be on Team USA at the World Chess Boxing Championships in Serbia in September. So what's chess boxing? Chess boxing is an incredibly unique and awesome sport where, against the same opponent, you play chess for a few minutes, then, assuming there's no winner yet, you pause the game, get in the ring, and box for a few minutes. And then, assuming there's no winner yet, after just getting in bed, you go back to the chessboard. This keeps repeating until someone wins by checkmate or by knockout. So that full TikTok video will be on TikTok in a link in the description. For those of you who struggle with attention spans like me, you can go click on that now. If you stay, we will go through all of this footage here of my actual chess boxing matches with the one and only Matt Thomas. Here's me playing chess. Here's me boxing. Here's me playing chess right after against the same opponent in chess boxing. Why do I even want to do this? What is this journey all about? I'm so excited to share that all with you. Who is Matt Thomas, also, who I'll be breaking down this footage with, and especially getting better at the boxing. So, like, the thing with me, obviously... Where's Matt? Here's Matt. He's a former world chess boxing champion. He's the head of United Chessboxing and the coach of Team USA. He's on the board there. He's a performance coach for NBA teams. Just a really, really awesome guy who just goes through breathwork and the psychology of everything. Just great, great stuff, especially for such a psychological sport like chess boxing. Why is it chess boxing? Why is it not chess wrestling or chess football? We talk about that as well. I mean, you could really make it anything, right? But such a cool thing. Obviously, for me, I just need to survive the boxing and get back in the chessboard. We'll see why my strategy there was not exactly that and how we're going to improve. This is a huge journey ahead of us. My YouTube channel will still be focused. I am the Gambit man. I am still making opening contributions in just chess, playing Gambits. That won't change, but I'll also be chess boxing and sharing that journey, especially on my TikTok and Instagram accounts. It lends itself more to short form content. Follow me there. Thanks so much for bearing with me on this journey, and I will actually play that full TikTok video at the very end here. Gotten hit in the head, and now I'm playing Alex, who's a decent player, and I had to grind this game down.
Exactly, and I talked to Alex about it. I'm not sure if you would agree, but he said he had an advantage at one point, and then you kind of turned it around. I didn't watch the game. I haven't seen it, but that was his.
I have not checked it with an engine, but I would be surprised very much so if it corroborated that.
I like that. Okay. Well, I'll look forward to the Gambit man.
Without further ado, here's me and Matt in the full breakdown of everything chess boxing.
We have a very special guest today. This is a recent friend, a new chess boxer, New York State champion of chess, FIDE master William Grafe, aka the Gambit man. Exclamation point William will get you over to his YouTube channel. He loves doing gambits, sneaking up on people. And we're trying to teach him how to do the same in the ring. So what we're about to engage in is a little sparring review from a session we had 2 weeks ago at Gleason's Gym in New York City, actually in Brooklyn, right over the bridge from Manhattan. It is the oldest boxing gym in America. Some of you guys have probably heard me talk about it before. It's one of my favorite places in the world. Over 40 world champions have come out of the gym. Muhammad Ali trained there, Mike Tyson trained there, and now William Grafe trains there. So we're going to get into...
One of these is not like the other.
A little, not yet, but just wait, bro. We're going to get into a little bit of sparring footage. Damn, talk about some supplements, bro. All right, I can dig it. Nice, you got a little shiner there. Was that from the first week? Was that Alex's shot? This right here?
Yes. Okay. That was when I threw the hook like this. Like the worst hook I ever threw, and I just took it right there. And so since then, I learned my lesson.
Yep. All right. Well, we're gonna get more into that.
Yep.
Do you want to introduce yourself real quick? I mean, I just did a little bit of an intro, but
you did a great job.
Do you want to share more of your story? Like, how about this? When you started chess, your journey through chess so far. Mm-hmm. Ashley says, and the new GOAT. I think so, man. Yeah, it's gonna be between him, Deepak, and Canty. basically are the 3 best chess players from the U.S. that are engaging in chess boxing. So it's going to be fun to see how Team USA does this year. But William, do you want to just share like when you started chess, journey through chess so far, and then what makes you want to do chess boxing?
Yeah, I started chess super young, and my mother taught me the rules just to occupy myself and stop bothering her when I was like 3 or 4. Played my first tournament a year later. It took off from there. You know, I played all these youth events and everything. I really, really loved the game, and I really loved especially teaching the game also. Like, you know, competing was everything for a long time, but I really loved teaching the game, building my communities in high school and in college and those chess programs there, and you know, doing more to grow the game. And so now trying to make opening contributions to the game, which, you know, as I read about as a kid, you know, this is the Tarasha variation, this is the Nimzovich variation, this is Stein's variation. So I wanted to offer, you know, new and exciting opening ideas. That's what I do now on YouTube, and you know, share with as many people as I can. And the New York State Chess Championships had been a goal of mine for a long time. You know, I remember seeing that trophy when I would go there when I was really, again, really little, 6, 7 years old. I'm from Westchester, New York. I live now in Williamsburg and Brooklyn in New York City, after going to the University of Chicago in between. And that was my goal, to get my name on that cup, be the 146th New York State chess champion going back to the 1870s and everything. So did that, and I needed a new goal and something to focus on. And I saw you, Matt, commentate the Ludwig event a year and a half ago, which was super fun. You know, you saw all my favorite streamers and everything on there, and I was like, wow, this looks so cool. I'd been a boxing fan, you know, most of my life also, you know, and really just a fan, the same way I'm a baseball fan. But the Rocky movies were always my favorite movies. It was always something, you know, I had wanted to get into, and I was like, you know, when else in my life am I going to be able to do this? I can play chess later, but right now, right now is a great time to box, and this is just really, really cool stuff. And you know, I'm totally all in, and I want to be the chess boxing world champion.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just going to send you a timestamp of when we started. It's right about at 2 hours 30 minutes. So when you do get the VOD, you can just you know, edit however you see fit. Now tell me about this first picture. What is this? This is a big crowd watching you play.
This is just I had a Fiverr guy who was like who's putting together a video for me right now. I'm a YouTuber, but with almost no video editing skills. But I thought for my chess boxing announcement, that would be good to maybe have some video editing. This is on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, actually. I was there for the Final Four a couple years ago, as my dad and my uncle. It's almost a yearly tradition. I've been to like 8 Final Fours, the college basketball I'm talking about. And there was a guy here, and there was just a huge crowd that gathered around me play. My man Roscoe, I believe his name is, really strong. Gave me a challenge for sure. But
you got him?
People really liked it. I got a great time in New Orleans. Yeah, I got him.
There we go. Nice. Yeah, good little crew there too.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
What else do we have here? Well, I guess people will see this in a future chess boxing video on the Gambit Man channel. So
that's a fun one. Click on that next video. Just at the top.
What's up? Yeah.
This is Washington Square Park.
Yeah, this is Washington Square Park. This was when I did an event.
We got a little
like sacrifices.
Taking some. That was a fun little shot.
We're gonna need it.
Right, yeah. Give the shot. I just thought.
I hope you know this well enough.
That was a really fun day. I love going to Washington Square Park. Those are hustlers.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Let's watch some of this mitt work here. This is the first thing we'll get to start to critique with you.
Yeah. This was from like, I think almost a couple years ago.
Oh, this is years. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to connect on you. Instead of jumping, step.
This is a yoga studio?
Yes.
Or dance studio?
Yes, this is that crunch. This is right after boxing class, which is where it's held. But that's my instructor. Janelle, she's phenomenal.
All right. So how long ago is this, do you
What do
think?
you think? Maybe, yeah, like a year and a half ago?
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, so this is right after Ludwig's event. You're like, I'm gonna box?
Yep. I wasn't joking.
Hell yeah, dude.
I was really inspired.
Okay, I think these are all the same video. Oh no, it's definitely the same combo though.
Might be. I think I do a different combo.
Same combo. Okay, so you did 1-2, step back, uppercut, step back, hook, or 1-2, hook, step back,
I
uppercut.
slip in there and I throw a back hook and a front uppercut. That's me with the New York State Chess Championship trophy you see in the top left right now.
Beast. So you don't get to keep that, right? They just put your name on it?
No, yeah, it's like a Stanley Cup situation.
Okay, gotcha. That's cool though. Name's on there.
Yeah.
Count it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing I say, this is a year and a half ago, so this probably isn't pertinent anymore. But the biggest thing I saw in here, and I'll just keep playing it so people can watch.
Oh, please critique me.
You're loading up on your punches a lot. So like I see you building up like almost like a Hadouken, Dragon Ball Z, like building up and then throwing.
Okay.
And you don't need to do that to generate power. The most powerful punch is the unexpected punch. So generally that means the fastest punch or the punch that comes from a blind spot. So especially in your weight class, especially with your size, the more that you can think about speed and defense, the more damage you're going to be able to do and the least damage you're going to take. So loading up on these shots, a good boxer is going to be able to see that kind of load up where you're telegraphing your punch. You're bringing your shoulder back in order to throw it forward, or you're kind of like winding up, especially with that right hook right there. That's something to try to drill out of yourself. I think with you, especially with your frame, you have a good height for your weight. The more straight shots you can throw, the better. And when you do practice inside fighting, practice a lot of uppercuts to try to push your opponent off of you. Because you want to be fighting at range. So, practicing as people come in, try to enter your range is going to be really, really important. And we'll practice that kind of stuff in the clinch. We'll stick your lead foot in a tire with someone else. So there's no getting away and you're forced to do some inside fighting.
We did some of that, yeah. Or just with defense.
Yep. So, but that's you've gotten better since then. Like I've seen you more recently, and you've improved since then. So let's get to the more recent stuff.
No, it totally makes sense, and it is doubly true that like I don't need to be a power puncher if my strategy in chess boxing is going to be to get back to the board.
Correct. Yeah. Look, let's say you get there in there against a GM, and somehow someone is better than you in chess in the chess boxing world. Which is unlikely, but is possible.
Okay.
If that happens, what I love about you is you have a lot of natural aggression. So for just where our sport is at this stage, I think it's very unlikely that someone's stronger than you at chess and has enough technical defense to handle your natural aggression. So even as you are right now without a ton of refinement, I think if you just let your amygdala and your adrenaline take control and you're just like, I need to knock this guy out, I think you would at least get a few stoppages like against a GM build where generally if you're chess leaning, you're just not as equipped for the boxing side. So that
would be the most fun situation.
You want to go knock out a GM? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because and we should say this for viewers too. What you're looking at is a pretty scary thing. Like your strength in chess boxing is the best way to win, but also the best way to get hurt. Because you have a lot more experience with chess, meaning that whoever you fight is going to know that their win condition is trying to knock you out. Yeah. So the more that you can train, here's a super aggressive guy that's coming at me nonstop. How do I defend? How do I stay away? How do I in training put myself in bad situations to practice getting out of bad situations? And we were able to do that a little bit with that corner drill. I intentionally didn't send that to you. That's just for us. But like the more that we can train putting you up against the ropes, putting you in corners, trying to circle away, trying to find counter punches in between flurries, all that stuff is going to be super helpful. So, good backdrop. Let's go ahead and dive into this first round. Oh, interesting. Okay, so
we have
here are the two recent ones, and you have two from the first sparring event too. So let's go ahead and do this shorter of the first sparring ones. So quick pause. This guy in the yellow here is a piece of chess boxing history. So
really, I played him a couple times.
Yeah, his name is Jared. He was the first person to do chess boxing in New York over 10 years ago. So there was a handful of people in the U.S. that found out about chess boxing and tried to start some sort of regular training or events or whatever. And the two main ones are this guy, Jared, from the original New York Chessboxing, and then Andrew McGregor from LA Chessboxing. So New York and LA were the first two cities, just a little chessboxing history lesson. The first two cities in the U.S. that found out about the sport and started like publicly trying to get people to try it. And these are the two main guys that predate me, along with one other guy named David Depto. David Depto was the first American to actually fight in a chessboxing match in London, which he lost. But he was about an 1800 level player and a pro boxer. So really, really skilled, just was up against a really good chess player who ended up checkmating him. So a little bit of context, a little bit of history. Like I said before, this is Gleason's gym. A lot of history here. We can talk about that. William is going to be in the blue helmet with the black tank top. And he's going to be sparring, I think, two different people. I think this first guy is Arthur.
And Alex.
Yep. So, I'm a little confused here. Okay.
This was the first day.
Gloves touch. Okay, let's get underway.
That I ever fought a human.
Yep.
And I fully recognize that I was a little out of control, but let's break it down.
Okay, so what I like is first, you have a decent stance. Sometimes people will come out flat-footed. Sometimes all their weight will be forward. You're pretty evenly weighted right now. The only thing I would change slightly is your legs are pretty much in a straight line, meaning your heels are aligned. The problem with that is when someone throws a lead hook, either to the head or the body, it's going to put your weight onto your heels. So when your weight are on your heels, you either are going to fall over, or to catch yourself, you're going to be really predictable. You're going to have to step usually with your back foot back away from the hook. So it's a really good way to set up a shot if someone's stance is too narrow, to throw a jab and then a hook. You get them on their back foot, and then you can follow up with a combo that will usually land a punch. So the only adjustment I would make here, just starting out from stance, is I would widen your back foot a little bit. If you're standing on a clock, you don't want to be at 12 and 6. You want to be at like 12 and 4.
Right, like here, if you pushed me, I would fall. Like the feet are not. Oh, you just muted.
I don't think. Am I muted?
Oh, yeah, it is. No, you're back. You're back.
Okay. So I mean, I think you would catch yourself. But like if I was standing on your right shoulder right now and I just pushed you would at least have to take a few steps to catch yourself. Whereas if you had a wider stance, you would be able to absorb the force better just because you have a wider base. Does that make sense?
No, totally. And the sparring footage is with these like old Air Maxes with the higher heels, and I just got shoes that are force me to be on the balls of my feet. Literally yesterday, I was at the Nike store. So.
Did you get boxing shoes?
No, but they're like
okay. Great that you got new workout shoes, but we should get boxing shoes.
All right, we'll get boxing shoes.
Yeah, they aren't that expensive. They're worth it. flat
Okay.
bottoms, and you're able to move around on canvas without tripping up on yourself. Okay. The other slight adjustment I would make is with your lead shoulder. So it's pretty good. It's better than most beginners.
But it's wide out, and I need to cover against like a jab to the body, right?
Kind of. Yeah. So if you this is gonna be hard for you to see, but if stream is up, if I'm square towards my opponent, then I'm showing a lot of my scoring area. You can see my belly, my chest, and my face.
Right.
Whereas if I close off to my opponent and I only show them my lead hand, my lead shoulder, they're going to have to come all the way around me in order to be able to score. So, Niku, welcome in. We are going over some sparring footage with New York State champion chess player turned chess boxer William Grafe. ! William in chat if you want to check out his YouTube channel. So it does two things. One, it makes it a lot harder for your opponent to set up shots or be able to predict you. And two, it gets your lead shoulder another inch or 2 inches closer to your opponent. So what is already your advantage, which is reach, you're going to have even more of an advantage because you're already closer. So the feedback here is widen your back foot and close off your scoring area so that your lead shoulder is as close to your opponent as you can get it as a starting position. And this is, all of these general rules have exceptions. What I'm giving you is just like basic principles like control the center, castle, and check for checks, captures, threats, right? Like this is the equivalent. So your starting position can be this, but there's going to be exceptions to that. You're going to feint. You're going to, you're going to find ways to switch this up. But as a general rule, start with lead shoulder close to your opponent, body closed off, and back foot a little bit wider. Okay, let's get into
watch Ali fights, and that guy, he always crosses his feet. He drops his hands to his hips.
He earned that.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
he earned that with 3 decades of fighting to fight a regular. It's just like chess. Like, would you recommend to a beginner to start with gambits?
No, I would recommend to learn principles of attacking, but castle your king and go after the enemy king in general. But I wouldn't recommend for them to do the equivalent of dropping your hands, like leaving your king unsafe. Even though I would know the exceptions to when you could do that.
Same exact advice in boxing. Yeah. It's hit and don't get hit, which is attack the king and protect your king. Right, and wait until you start to gambit pieces until you understand all the potential engagements and lines. So someone like Floyd Mayweather fights with his lead hand down. It's called the Philadelphia Shell. Yeah, that's a really good stance. It's a stance that I use. But until you get used to everything that can happen with your lead hand down, you don't want to start actually competing with your lead hand down. You want to do a lot of mitt work and sparring. Getting your reps in online chess, practicing the same gambit before you use it in a tournament. Make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Jenny says, I would start by learning the Botez gambit, and after that, they know what not to do and be Botez gambit proof forever. I like that. Okay, what I like about this is you started out and immediately set the tone. You landed the first jab. So we'll watch that now. Feint jab, and then one landed right on the side of Arthur's head. Arthur's a little bit smaller than you, but a lot more experienced with boxing. What I like is that you didn't let him get immediately into a groove where he was only attacking. You kept him kind of guessing. Is he going to come at me? Am I going to come at him? You had a good right hand there. There's a little bit of pawing going on. The first time you took a real shot was that jab. And I always look for the first shot landed against a new fighter because it tells me a lot about their character. There's one reaction that's an immediate no, which is when someone gets hit, they'll scrunch up their face, they'll put their hands up like this, completely blind themselves, and then they'll start backing up. And it is the flight response to fight, flight, or flee. So this is not that response. Your head snapped back, and then you immediately came back into engagement range and tried to land your own shot. So
For better or worse,
here comes
I've never
the
had a
jab.
flight response.
So he did a jab to the body. He caught you on the head. You threw a right hand back. That was actually a better shot than his jab. So when his jab landed, boom, head snapped back, and you were already starting to throw the right hand, which caught him. So I like that. We've already covered this, but you need to be a little careful about your punches coming down to your chest or your waist after you punch. You want to snap right back to your chin or your cheek.
Yeah. Yeah.
Elbows are a little bit wide in your base stance. Okay, good exchange there. You probably don't know this yet, but the last punch in the corner there, that one?
Yes.
That's illegal.
I remember talking about this with you after.
Yeah. So that's called a rabbit punch. You hit in the back of the head. This counts the same way as an illegal move in chess. So it's 3 in a round or it's 4 in a fight, and you're disqualified. So even if the shot's open, you try to train yourself not to throw it, even if it's close. Because like here's a worst case scenario.
Absolutely, and it's a good rule. I mean, it's dangerous to get hit there.
It is. Yeah. It can mess you up.
Yeah.
So here's a scenario. You have a Russian referee and you're fighting an Eastern European. And there's a punch that's close to the ear, maybe a little behind it. And you throw it, you hit him. And it's impossible to eradicate all prejudice in international sports, which is why places like the Olympics try really hard to find impartial judges and never someone from the same country as someone who's competing. But in chess boxing, we don't always have that luxury. We do our best, but you need to always think like the ref is working against you. If you train in that state, you'll be prepared for a worst case scenario. So there's little things like my boxing style. There's some refs that really don't like my boxing style because I lower my upper body a lot. And there's a rule about like bringing your head up that could hit your opponent. That just in the Philly shell is a really normal thing. Floyd does it all the time. You're basically slipping under a lead jab and throwing your shoulder into the body of your opponent. It's not a punch that landed. You don't get a point. But I get into their body and I'm completely safe. I'm away from all their punches. And if they think they're safe, I can spin away, throw a shot. And if they think they aren't safe and they clinch, then we get separation again. And that's where I like to be. I like to be at distance. The problem with that is when I'm inside like that and I raise my head, I can get a caution for this. So this rabbit punch would be the same kind of situation. If you got used to throwing this rabbit punch, it could be used against you to where this is part of my strategy, it's part of my combinations, it's part of my subconscious. I might throw this and get and rack up 2 or even 3 stoppages as a warning. And that can affect you not only in the boxing, but also in the chess. So one of the rules in chess boxing is stoppages and illegal moves aggregate. So it's not 3 stoppages in a round or 4 in a fight only in boxing and you lose, or 3 illegal moves or 4 in a match in chess and you lose, or time warnings also count as illegal moves. But those together. So if you have 2 in a round, fight's over.
I think, yeah. No, it totally makes sense. I think what happened here, and something I'm getting better at as I get more used to, fighting humans, is the first day I ever boxed with a human was I got in the ring and just like, it was like what you said, it was 1,000 shots of epinephrine. I had the fight or flight response, which was completely fight. And it just became like super aggressive, and there wasn't a lot of brain power there. And I think I just need to get more used to just being in the ring, being a little bit more controlled, because as you see here, it's a lot, right?
This is your first sparring, so for you to be even able to land punches without like squinting and punches coming back in is amazing. Like, let's start at that baseline. Any critiques I'm giving
Thank
you is because, one, I know you can take it to get this to this level in chess. You've had a lot meaner chess coaches than me rip apart your chess. So as a baseline, like, I wouldn't be this excited about a new chess boxer unless you had a lot of like natural potential, and your first rounds show that. So let's just keep moving through this. We have multiple rounds. Maybe kind of catching your breath. I like that you feint it there. Try to elicit a response from your opponent. It's kind of like a waiting move. See if they're going to mess something up themselves. Just all out aggression here. We start to get a little bit predictable with all those punches, right? So you threw the same thing a couple times, which is why he threw a shot in between. He was able to predict you. So let's see. The
back and forth
first
to the body, yeah.
Okay, so the first 5 were good. He landed a little right hook in between the 6th punch, the 5th and 6th punch. And then he landed 2 more as he kind of winded out, gassed out a little bit towards the end. So the feedback from that exchange would be have a 4 to 5.
I was in a good position there. I had him against the ropes, right?
You did. So that's a good time to throw to the head into the body, which is exactly what you did. Whenever you always throw to the same target, really easy to defend. But when you throw to the head and to the body, you constantly have to be moving up your gloves to defend your head and your elbows down to defend the body. And it's hard to do both and predict which one is going to be thrown at that time. So you were doing a good job of switching up your shots, switching your levels. The feedback is once you throw a combination and land your shots, switch angles or exit. So if you stay at the same angle, I'm right in the same place, then I don't even have to have my eyes open. I know where the first couple punches came from that I blocked. Maybe 1 or 2 got in, but I can just throw right in front of me and you're right there. If you go jab to enter, and then you throw those 4 hook combinations, and then you pivot outside, he's still up against the ropes, but now you've just shifted outside one of his shoulders. He has to turn to face you before he can throw anything. Does that make sense? He can't throw across his body, right? If you're now outside of his shoulder. So it's boom, 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 boom. I pivot. Now I'm outside of his shoulder. He has to turn. And then you can throw another 2 or 3 punch combination. So it's getting really used to, on the heavy bag, never standing in the same place for more than, we'll just say as a general rule, 5 punches right now. So if you throw more than 5 punches with your feet in the same place, an alarm bell should roll off. After the, let's say, 4th punch, pivot one way or the other, and then throw another 2, throw another 3. And that'll get you like changing your lines of attack and keeping your opponent having to guess where you are instead of being able to counter blindly.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Cool. All right, let's keep going. Good uppercut to the body to exit there. Watch the low blow, though. I don't think it was a low blow, but... Okay, you're breathing through the mouth right now. Sometimes it's going to be inevitable. Try your best to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. So train that even when you're winded in training.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll talk more about breathing techniques. I mean, just in terms of transitions, right?
For sure. Yep. Okay, so this
The hook there was wild. It missed badly.
This was the same hook from the mittwork. Okay, this is why that mittwork is important to train like you're fighting and not just try to like knock your trainer's hand off or like make the heavy bag move a lot. What you want to do is you want to train like someone's about to punch you back. So whenever you throw a power shot, it's when you have it completely teed up, the guy has already taken a bunch of shots, and you're just finishing him. Any other time, a quick shot is better than a strong shot. So with this, here's this lead jab, and I'm pausing it where your right hand is down for a reason.
Yeah, and he knows it's coming.
When you throw that lead hand, all beginners do this, and it's just natural human anatomy. When you throw that lead hand, the rear hand drops, and it's something to train out of yourself. So when you start all of your training sessions now, maybe before your coach arrives or whatever, I want you to keep your hand on your right eyebrow, the edge of your right eyebrow, and throw 100 jabs. And switch up where you throw the jab. You can throw it to the head, you can throw it to the body, but you're training yourself that whenever I throw the jab, I am not naturally lowering my rear hand. And you're just going to get reps at subconsciously keeping your guard up when you throw your lead hand. Okay, the other reason why you drop the hand here is because you're powering up the hook that comes next.
Yes,
there's that
the
hook.
plan.
Okay, so you
And
lowered
it
it to throw it. Two things there. One, when you lower it, you're doing two bad things. One, you're telegraphing the punch, and two, you're lowering your guard so that there can be a counter. And the jab is a lot faster than a powerful hook. So when you lower the right hand to throw, I'm looping my punch around. Whereas his jab is the closest punch to me. If he sees me lower my hand and start to loop around, a jab both hits you first and his shoulder defends or deflects your hook. And the jab is the easiest, fastest punch to throw. So that right hook always needs to be set up with something, which to your credit, you set it up with a jab. You didn't just try to throw a right hand out of nowhere. But when you looped it over, he did a really good thing. He went under it, and look in this frame how open you are, right? Your body is what he chose to attack with a jab to the body, right? So he could have done a lot more damage with a cross to the body if he threw his power hand. All your momentum is coming forward. If he used his rear hand to hit you in the sternum or to hit you in the lead rib, that's the type of punch that could like knock your breath out, right? Yeah. All your momentum's coming forward. He's stopping you with a power punch.
Issue there also is I just like decided like this is what I'm gonna throw right now, and it wasn't based on like his defense or anything.
And starting out,
I got it. Yeah.
Starting out, you're gonna have to think about what you want to throw before you throw it. The benefit of bag work and mitt work is you start to train these combinations that are really common and useful, and you'll start to notice when openings for them are. And once you start to throw a few of those and build your self-confidence and clarity in sparring, it'll start to be completely subconscious. You'll start to throw these combinations without ever having to think about them. It's like drilling puzzles in chess. You just start to see certain hand and piece combinations that make sense without you even having to explain them. You just know, oh, this is a smother mate. I'm going to go, F2, H3, Queen, G1, and then back to F2, right? So it's the same idea. You're setting up these natural movements that are also effective.
Okay.
Another little wild lead hook. You didn't get too punished for that. I think that's more on Arthur. That's feedback I would give to Arthur. It's like when there's wild punches like that, that was a good little shot. That was a good little shot there. Okay.
Oh yeah, I took one.
Okay.
Yeah, I was dropping my hands. All right.
So I think what's happening now is after that, when you had him up against the ropes and he threw about 10 punches, I think it's your first time dealing with fatigue during sparring. Your punches are starting to get a little bit more wild, and you're breathing heavier, like your mouth breathing. Yeah. So you're starting to throw heavier, slower shots, and he just timed one of them. And he threw a 1-2, only the 2 landed. But let's see it again. He parries the jab, he parries the second jab, and when that lead hand, after you throw your jab or hook, whatever it was,
that missed, and then
it just comes down to your chest instead of coming back to your chin. and he catches you with a cross, and then you kind of shake your head.
In general, like when fatigued like that, it probably makes less sense to trying to be throwing big hooks.
Okay, two things there. One, it takes a lot of self-awareness to know when you're fatigued and compromised. Because when your adrenaline's pumping, it's like fight or flight. You're a fighter. You're not a flighter. So when you're fatigued or you feel threatened, you're going to be fighting back. This is when it's important to be able to open your ears and listen to a coach, right? There are going to be code words for this. But if he notices any fatigue in you, basically there can be a word like dance or fly or whatever. That's basically use your feet, don't throw punches, and if you have to do anything, jab and get back to space. And
Should we
that's
practice next?
What's up?
Or should we practice next? We'll watch next.
Yeah, exactly.
Shoved him.
Really nice cross there. I don't like how you entered. You're kind of pawing and like grappling. But when he tried to exit, you saw a window in between his guard, and you nailed him with that cross. That was good. Now you're going to his body. Now you're just bullying him. Poor little guy.
He is lighter than me, and so I think I just kind of like drove him to the ropes. I don't even think it was with a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that was intense. So here's that game against Arthur, and I'll show it starting from the end of the fight. Bell rings, touch gloves. What a great sparring session. I feel like there's a couple cheap shots there. Matt is telling me right now that my issue is that I'm so aggressive and that my advantage is going to be over there on the chessboard, and to calm down and be a little more defensive in boxing. We're going to talk about that game on the chessboard right now. We're going to pan there. You can see how fired up I am, how I'm breathing with my shoulders right now, how he's telling me to do down regulation breathing, in through the nose, as long exhale as possible. I'm practicing it right here. Okay, let's cut right to the chest. No more delay. Oop. Here we go. I'm still... Oh, it's on double speed. Here we go. So this game was a knockout, if you will. Quick knockout. Let's see how we made that happen. We calmed ourselves a little bit. I think I'm looking a little bit better. Okay, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. d4. Takes, and we have a goring gambit on the board. Which immediately surprises Arthur. If you don't know the opening in general, in Blitz, especially against the Gambit man, you should take an extra beat here. Probably better for black, even though d takes c3 is the engine recommendation to grab this pawn. Probably better for black to play these lines with d5, bishop d3. This is a goring gambit covered on my channel, which I love a lot. Better version of the Danish. d takes c3, bishop c4. So we have a Danish gambit, except Danish players know you can get out of it with d5. d5 right now, pawn takes is going to hit the knight. So in the game, that's not an option. Just develops knight f6 and castles. So knight takes e4 here, not going to be an option for black, because after it's just something like rook e1, you're going to lose this knight owing to the pin. So your king's still in the center, and it's going to be a big, big problem. This game's going to go by pretty quick. So castles, and now it's not so easy to get out of the middle. If you just move that bishop to e7, I'm going to play e5, and you're going to run out of squares for your knight. So d6 comes to prepare, so to stop e5, you can control that. So it looks like bishop e7, you can castle quick. But now here comes queen b3, and this was a huge decision. This is a huge decision. So queen b3 hits f7, not with knight g5. With knight g5 would have allowed knight e5, right? We lose control of that square, and knight e5 defends f7 and counterattacks the bishop. So we attack f7 in such a way that A, there's no knight e5, knight's here, and B, there's no castles for the rook to defend. So now to defend, you have a couple awkward choices. You have queen d7, queen e7, and bishop e6. And the most common, and the one that Arthur played, is unfortunately the worst of those three options, and it's queen to e7. And it looks like that makes the most sense. Like queen d7 looks so awkward. You know, you're blocking this bishop and everything. And queen e7 looks like, okay, maybe g6, bishop g7, and castles should be fine. White's just going to collect this pawn. You'll still be up one. The thing is, the pressure's going to keep coming here really, really quickly. Better would have been queen d7, because after knight takes c3, now knight a5 is possible. If the queen's on e7, queen a4 is check, and is actually going to force the knight right back, or else you're just going to lose that knight. With the queen on d7, it shields this from being check, and knight a5 here, you're actually able to make that trade for the bishop, and once you're able to make that trade, you can play bishop to e7 without losing this pawn, and you're going to be able to castle, although, you know, okay, e5 is an option here, rook d1 is an option here. White still has a lot of pressure in this position. You know, I mean, you gotta be very, very, very careful here. Takes, okay, rook d1, like there's still lots of pressure, but it's a better option. Bishop e6 is also a decent one to trade off, again, for that very, very powerful piece. Actually, it's not an option in this position. It's an option in some lines. Okay, queen d7 is the only good move, and it's a rare one. In the game here, Arthur plays queen to e7, so let's talk about it. So why is that so bad? Knight takes c3 comes, and so, okay, how do you get out of it? You can't move that bishop because queen takes b7. How are you going to castle your king, get out of the middle? We've gambited a pawn. I didn't have my gambit glasses here right after fighting. Got him here. Got him here. Both games we tried the gambit. Next game I also tried a gambit. So g6 makes a lot of sense. Looks like, okay, bishop g7 castles. Again, you only need a couple of moves. If I just do something small, then he's going to be able to do that. However, this is an important moment to keep up the pressure. Oh, we got to turn those arrows off. I thought I did turn those arrows off. Best move arrow off. There we go. Okay. Well, I didn't have the best move arrow during the game, I promise. Bishop to g5 was played, and now knight d5 becomes very, very strong owing to the pin here. That knight is not going to be able, not only not going to be able to recapture on d5, but also it's going to get pinned. There's going to be problems on f6 and on c7 once that knight hops in here. So bishop g5, really strong, and already this position's losing for black. I mean, this stuff plays so well in this format because it's just like aggressive. You don't know it. You just got hit in the head. Your heart rate's super high, and it's blitz. So like this is if there was ever a time to play gambits, it's gonna be in chess boxing. So what an awesome fusion of this stuff. So h6 comes, but now here comes knight d5. Yeah, the bishop is hit. What Arthur probably wanted was bishop h4 g5 to now the knight can fight here on for control of the d5 square. But like even then that looks a little icky. But already knight d5 we're able to do it. So he has no choice. You're right. Moving the queen here is just going to lose that knight. He has no choice but to take that bishop. I take the queen. Bishop takes. I can now grab f7. There's no queen there either. King to f8 played. Bishop takes g6. And again, you shouldn't let blunders compound because you're able, if you can just keep avoiding mate, maybe you can get me back in the ring and knock me out. Right? I need to actually checkmate. There's no resigning in chess boxing. So but the blunders do compound here, g4, and I was able to land queen to f7, checkmate. And we got him. And we got him. So, great chess boxing stuff. Let's go back to this awesome conversation with Matt about more chess boxing strategy.
Okay, awesome. So I probably just give you a little feedback there. We don't listen to that. We just talked through most everything. So that was 3 minutes. Let's just kind of page through this one. This one's 10 minutes.
Because it includes the chess portion. There's also a video there of me playing Arthur in chess right after.
Alex has a lot of weight on you. This is also when you take your first shot. We'll definitely watch that. And then you go over and who do you play chess against? Alex?
Alex, yeah.
And you beat him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like we played a full game start to finish.
Gotcha. You weren't breaking back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay. So first, I'm going to take responsibility for something. I should not have put you against Alex. It worked out. It was fine. But Alex isn't experienced enough yet to know how to pull his punches. And in any other scenario, like if my jaw wasn't broken and my teeth weren't a mess right now, I would spar you because I know how to not hit you with my weight. I know how to show you where a hole is without turning my hips or making you feel power. And it's a blessing that could have been a curse that Alex hit you with a power shot in this round. And that in retrospect could have been. That was
the nose selfie, yeah.
What's up?
That was the nose selfie.
That was the nose selfie, exactly from the beginning of when William joined stream. If you saw the kind of like red swollen nose, that was from that right hand from Alex. So we're gonna see that here. We're gonna see how it happened because I don't exactly remember the shot, but I'll take responsibility for that as just a coach, a facilitator.
I'm the one who dropped his hands.
It's your first day sparring, and this guy is 20 to 30 pounds heavier than you, depending on how honest he is. Okay. So this is where I'm telling him to not put any of his weight into punches. Nothing to the head yet. Tighten you up. Okay, let's see gloves touch first. There we go. Okay, I want you to watch your feet at the beginning of this round. And just tell me what you notice, okay?
Okay. I'll tell you. Yeah, they're squared and they're far, and I pick up the back foot when I come in.
That was the main thing I wanted you to see, is picking up the back foot when you threw your lead hand.
Yeah.
Okay? That little kick back,
in. Yeah.
it's to counterbalance yourself, but it's actually a stronger punch with better balance if you stay rooted and drive into the ball of your foot.
The issue was I just shouldn't have thrown it. I couldn't reach without that, I think, in that spot. But yeah.
Let's see.
Or, yeah.
So you land the punch. I mean, it kind of touches his elbow, but the punch was in range. What the problem is where the momentum of your body was going. So
Yeah.
you're not throwing it with your body weight. You're throwing it with your arm. Is the problem with this one? So if your back foot was rooted, and then imagine my hand is your foot. Instead of picking up and kicking behind, coming up to the ball of your foot and then pivoting so that hook you're having
Twist, and then you drive that foot into the ground, right?
you're having concentric force where you're driving to the ground in the opposite direction that your punch is being thrown. So when your opponent feels the punch, they're not just feeling your arm, they're feeling the ground attached to your arm. They're feeling your body mass behind the punch. Still in a pretty straight line with the feet. You did the little scoot thing again. We're gonna need to train that right hook to the body. Your right foot is coming behind you when you throw that. So we'll just need to train that out. That one was better. It came behind again there. Nice right hand lands to the chin there.
Yeah, finally got him between those hands. So that was, I'll tell you what you're about to say. I got him into the ropes, and again, it was just like shots, body, very predictable, and I got countered at the head.
And the punches weren't returning to your chin. So even when you're throwing body shots, I'm throwing hook to the body, but I'm covering here. I'm throwing hook to the body, but I'm covering here, right? I can throw low while still having my hand start at my chin. So when something comes back, I can either use this lead shoulder to protect this side of my face, or I can use this hand. Same thing when I throw the other way. Boom, this other shoulder comes up, even if my arm is going down, and my other hand is covering the other side. So you basically always have a shoulder or a hand covering either side of your chin. If you get hit up here, sometimes it can do damage. A lot of times it's going to graze off. It's going to deflect, especially if you've heard the term rolling with a punch.
Yeah.
Rolling with a punch means it's coming from this way. I'm also going this way. So it's not me going into the punch. That's going to make the force more sentient. You feel it more. It's going away from the punch, so it kind of deflects off, or you absorb it. So way to predict what I was going to say. I would also say hand placement was one of the issues there.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So it was that was again your sixth punch. So we're gonna keep that 5 punch rule. I don't want you to throw more than 5 shots from the same angle. Heavy bag, mitt work, or sparring. Just throw 4, change direction, then throw 5, 6, 7.
Yep. And they were all predictable. They weren't even different. It was just body, 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 right?
Mm-hmm. The first couple landed. He just was able to create a little bit of distance and then turn a right hand over. Which that kind of punch, especially he held that one back to his credit. That kind of punch can be a knockout shot though. Nico, there is no kicking in chess boxing. Okay, why did he catch you with that jab?
Let me see that one more time. Rewind again. I dropped my right hand.
Exactly. So when you entered the last combination, he saw your right hand drop. When he took another step forward, he proactively threw the jab, thinking that right hand was going to drop again. Okay, something in Alex's game that you could recognize and take advantage of. When you're throwing this jab, he's trying to cross parry. Do you remember that parry drill that we did and why we parry with the same side hand?
He's parrying my left with his left.
Correct. So what is open when he does that?
Like his head, like I could throw across there.
Right. So here's where it was open. Started parrying there. He parried there. You could have thrown across there.
Yeah.
And there. You're a little far away for that one. You would have kind of had to sell out. But when you see that cross parry, or you're kind of like high-fiving with your lead hands, that's just bells should be going off in your head. Throw 1-2 or throw a double jab cross. So 1-1-2 or 1-2. Simplest punch in boxing, punch combination. But anytime there's a cross parry, that cross is open. Now you're doing the same thing.
Halfway through the round, you can pick it up, guys.
I don't know why this jab bothered me so much. Just like I'm trying to smack it out of the way.
Okay, there was a right hand. Let's see what happened there.
Wait, who landed it?
So you're trying to paw that lead hand away. You're annoyed with it in your face. You cross parry and look what's open.
I saw Usyk do something like that in the Fury fight, but so we're both about to throw crosses here, yeah?
And his beats you to it.
Yeah, mine lands like at his neck, it looks like. Or I don't know.
We can't fully see how your punch did, just because it's behind your body.
Well, you can see my glove at his neck right now.
Right, but what I don't know is if his lead hand was in your way. So I don't know if it landed flush. Like his landed flush. Like, look, your head is now facing me.
Yeah. That might have been the bruise.
His left hand is around your elbow. He definitely had more hip in his shot, and he also has more mass.
The issue here, I mean, right before that, my left hand was way down. Yeah.
Your left hand was occupied. Your left hand was on his left hand, which is what created that hole.
So this is where head movement would come into play.
Well, just not parrying his jab with your left hand. keeping your left hand at home, not taking the bait.
Okay.
So like look how he sets this up. He sees that your lead hand is pawing at his lead hand. It comes all the way down. You see it's like by your waist right now, and that right hand is wide open. Boom. You took it well though. I mean, you're right back to it. Your guard's up. You're still pawing at that cross hand.
Like I will say, just
There's another
like
right
my
hand.
mentality at the moment, like nothing hurts in the moment, you know.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the ways that your brain helps you. So
Okay.
we're cross pairing again. So which means that right hand's open. He, to his credit, he does not smack you with it. And he could have here. So from this position, just watch this right hand come over the top. He just taps you. Boom. That if he threw an overhand right, that could put you down.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Good right hand back. So you noticed. Okay, here's where using your lead hand to remove the guard can work out. If your opponent is just covering, then you can use that lead hand to either knock away the guard or tear away the guard. This is easier to show in person. But if you imagine that I'm up against you and I'm just here, and let's say my eyes are closed. If you throw your punch into my wrist and create a hole here, you can throw that second shot right where my hand used to be. Similarly, if you're able to throw a jab and tear away, then you can throw the shot over the top. Easier to show when we're in person. We'll drill this. It's one of the things I love to do against people that just like shell up. You can always land shots on people that just turtle because they can't keep their guard everywhere at all times. So you either throw where it isn't, or you throw without the intention to land. You throw the intention to remove the guard. It's kind of like removing a defender, right? Nice defending a bishop. You remove the knight. Bishop's hanging. You can capture the bishop.
Got you.
Less than a minute.
Okay. I saw your face react to that.
That was tough to watch.
Oh, I was like, oh, you just ate some
I thought the other hook was the worst hook I ever threw.
some like moldy bread or something.
You saw my face.
So it's the back foot staying rooted.
Yeah.
There's two ways to drill that. Okay.
It's when I get tired, right? I'm just like,
Part of
I
it's
still want to throw it just
fatigue.
as hard.
A lot of it is just technique, though. So, like, you are an aggressive-minded fighter, which means generally your weight is going to be on your lead foot. If your weight's on your lead foot, then there isn't enough weight on your back foot to be connected to the ground. So when you throw a shot, it can just kind of pop up without you even knowing. If your weight is more centralized, you have more weight in your back foot, which means when you throw a shot, you have the force of the ground moving through your leg to your hip, moving through your hip to your shoulder, moving through your arm to your fist. Instead of if one of the feet is unrooted, if it's up in the air, then the rooted foot is just keeping you up. It's not helping you with your punch at all. It's just what you're balancing on. And then the punch has very little power in it. It might land, you might get a point for it, but it's not going to generate much force. It's just going to be an arm punch.
No, it totally makes sense.
Keep the feet set, in control. Defense first.
Great right hand, left hand. Good job.
Got one here, actually.
Opening yourself up again, trying to land a power body shot.
There's a frustration here that comes from having oh my god hit the bags in the mitts for so long that don't move,
Yeah.
and now fighting a human.
Right. Yeah. No. Look, throwing the shot and having it blocked is one thing. Throwing a shot and whiffing, there's a physical detriment to it where you're having to stop your own force instead of it being absorbed by your opponent, which makes them use some energy. You're having to use all the energy yourself. You're burning yourself out more than a punch that's blocked.
Probably both throwing it and then trying to regain the balance.
Correct. So that's one side of it. The other side of it is having someone that can dodge and punch back is a completely different animal. And I think overall, especially for our first day sparring, this was an excellent job. Like it's rare to have like a natural demeanor like this, especially against a bigger guy that already caught you once. It's a good thing. It's good to have this as a starting point.
That the spirit was there to just keep coming after him.
Yeah, you didn't stop.
Yeah.
Another right hand landed. You ate it.
5 seconds. Finish strong. 3, 2.
Alex is letting you feel it.
There's the bell. Immediate down regulation. Good job touching blood. Let's go right to the board.
Okay.
So this is the chess boxing part, right? We're immediately transitioning now.
Correct. So as soon as that bell rung, I said, okay, down regulation. What that
I
means?
actually remember what you said to me.
What's up?
You told me I was going to be a world champion. I think in that shot.
Hell yeah! Hold on. Can you hear it?
Wait, maybe it's back.
It might have been after Arthur. I think it was right after the Arthur round.
Okay, but at least you can.
I think it was after your first
bear
round.
witness.
Because the first round was against Arthur. So let's see. I mean, when you do your YouTube video.
No, I think Alex was first, actually.
No, Arthur was first. Or maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I think Alex was first, but it's fine.
Okay. Oh. Well, let's try to listen.
1. There's the bell. Immediate down regulation. Good job touching blood. Let's go right to the board. We have 1 minute. I'm counting the minutes. So you get the full experience. Very slow pattern breathing.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. That's when I said it. Put my hand on your shoulders.
Really?
You're going to be a world champion. That was your first round. That was right.
I remember you said when you touched my shoulder, you said I was super tense and the shoulders were really high.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty common too. Like when you're in fight or flight, you're gonna be holding your shoulders up. You're gonna be flexing your pecs and your upper back. Those are all really big muscle groups that draw a lot of blood. So
this is a waste of energy in general.
Correct. Yeah, this needs to be trained, but the more relaxed you can be when you don't need to be tense, 2 things happen. 1, you use less energy. That's a net positive. 2, your punches are thrown more smoothly. Yeah. And smooth is fast, fast is hard. So that whole float like a butterfly, sting like a bee kind of saying, that comes from this tense versus relaxed, this fight versus this flow kind of idea. You want to be flow up until you tense up and there's the fight. Right? So move it around nice and smooth, easy, confident, and then as soon as you need to be, boom, we're tense. A lot of people will even train when you throw a shot, having an open, relaxed hand and arm, and then right before the connection, tensing up the arm, the forearm, and the fist. Boom. Boom. Something you can practice in shadow boxing. Feels a little jerky and weird, but it can translate to some good things. Okay.
I mean, I think in my mitts, I'm not clenching my fist until I throw.
It's good. That was the feedback I just gave. The dangerous side of that is if you end up making contact unclenched, you can break your hand or a finger. And it's really hard to keep going through a fight when one of those 2 things happen.
Thanks. Okay.
So err on the side of fist always clenched, and then shadow box. Don't shadow box with it before you do heavy bag with it, before you do mitt work with it, before you spar with it. That's the progression.
Gotcha.
Okay. I think in your YouTube video, you should go through this game, have the classroom board, do the whole thing.
Absolutely
we don't need to do that now.
All right, we're cutting to that now.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so I'm going to play it right now, right after the boxing round ended, and you're going to see the down regulation right here, breathing, as we go right to the chess. And we'll see if I was losing during that time. So I'm playing against Alex, who I just boxed against. Alex being a much better boxer than me, as you can tell, but about 1800. So the challenge here is not strictly in chess, but can you play after just getting hit in the head, after being extremely exhausted, battered, and with your heart rate through the roof? And you can see right there, actually, that's actually quite funny. My man right here, my eyes are shut as I focus on down regulation, breathing, and calming down. And I missed the fist bump. All right, there's not long between the boxing and the chess. That is what adds an additional exciting component to chess boxing. That is part of the game right here. Alex plays c4 against me. Okay, I have the game inputted right here. And I guess he's waiting to start my cloth. All right, I open my eyes. And here we go. So, hit him with a6. And we're playing the alphabet gambit immediately. a6 and b5. So the point here, this is covered on my channel, is takes, a takes, knight takes b5. And what we want to do is actually play d5 and immediately take the whole center, go after this knight. So if they play d4 to take a stake in the center, we're still going after this knight, sacrificing another pawn to do so, even if necessary. So this is just, plays great in blitz, plays great with your heart rate through the roof. So I'm actually really excited to utilize my gambits a lot in chess boxing and even to teach my teammates about how to do that. So Alex, though, as you can see here on the board, declines it. He plays d3 very quickly, defending this c4 pawn. I'm playing here b4. Let's get back to the game. Attacking this knight, which is the other point of b5. And he jumps knight a4, which is an okay move. Knight's not doing too much on the edge of the board, and I probably actually could have jumped to the center with e4, because it's hard to actually really attack it so much. Let me turn off these arrows. But I'll continue playing this video. As you see, I still got my mouth guard in. I still got my headgear on. All right, playing here e5, take a stake in the middle. I didn't turn off the arrows. There we go. Take a stake in the middle. Plays b3, which makes a lot of sense to bring out this bishop. Knight f6, developing our pieces. And here's where things kind of start to go wrong a little bit. Maybe decisions that I wouldn't necessarily have made if my head were in a better state at that moment. So I'm playing here to defend e5. I'm playing knight to c6, as you can see, to defend this pawn from the bishop. However, this is assuming that this is kind of a Sicilian structure. And you can see I will play d5 in a moment. The downside, though, that you'll notice is that this file can open onto my knight, and I don't have this pawn here to defend. A better setup would have been to, play with d6, and then this bishop needs to come to g2. It has no other way out this way. But the thing is, g3 right now, I can actually take this diagonal first. So to not block this knight, defend here with d6, bishop b7, knight d7, this would have been a much better setup than what I did in the game. So I play here knight c6, and I give the advantage probably back to white in this moment. g3 is a nice move by Alex to make a double fianchetto. And yeah, here I'm immediately playing d5 because I'm excited about the idea of c takes d5, queen takes d5. I'm like, okay, my queen can't be attacked by this knight. Knight f3, I can play something like bishop to b7 and really take this diagonal and maybe not be challenged that way. However, he does not have to take on d5 right away and immediately just plays bishop to g2. Here, again, I probably should have played bishop to b7 to support this knight. This knight is actually not in a great situation right now, and I'm playing this move here. I mean, I'm thinking about it for a moment. I'm playing this move here, bishop e6, so that c takes d5, bishop takes d5. But yeah, there's a nice move here for white. It's not what was played. He plays e3 to develop the knight here, which makes sense if you don't want to block the bishop. But more dangerous is playing here rooks to c1, idea of c takes d5 and hitting this knight. This pawn is not back here. It's a very different situation, and I could be in a lot of trouble with something like rook c1, queen c2 coming next, c takes d5, right? Imagine, so okay, I could play queen d7 to defend this knight against the rook, but here comes queen c2 attacking it again, C7 is a problem as well down that line. Knight to C5 it can jump in, and this knight is suddenly looking very good. All these pieces are actually doing great jobs, and this knight can come in. Yeah, this pawn needs to be here to play a Sicilian structure better, and I should not have allowed C takes D5 at all. This file opening can be very dangerous very quickly. This knight is just not defended and has targets against it, and I'm also relying on it to defend here. So this is a tricky situation, and D5 was a poor choice on my part, absolutely. In the game, that's not what happened, fortunately for me. So E3, I played here bishop to D6, knight to E2, and I just simply castled. So we're developing our pieces. Alex castles as well. I play here just queen to D7, and again, this is probably the moment where C takes D5 would have been very important, and it's probably their last chance to play C takes D5 and get that rook on C1, because now with queen D7, I'm defending this knight, and what I should have done is D takes C4, now that it's not hanging. D takes C4, pawn takes C4, and not having to deal with this C line. Otherwise, though, the position looks pretty nice, it's just the pawn is up here. So queen D7, Alex puts his rook on B1, expecting probably take C4, pawn takes C4, and opening that file there. Instead, I'm playing bishop h3 to trade off for this dangerous bishop. Immediately, queen d7, using bishop to h3. C takes d5, I can play bishop takes g2, and recapture back on c6. But I'm using a lot of time here in the opening. You know, I'm trying to stay focused as much as I can. You know, like I mentioned before, it's easy for me to amp myself up, but amping myself down is a little difficult. I'm really feeling it, that I'm a little all over the place right now mentally. In the game, rook e1 was played, trying to play bishop h1, dodging this trade, and I'm able to take g2, and at this point, probably the c line's danger is gone without that bishop there. So I jump in queen to g4, which is a good choice, trying to stay aggressive here. h5, h4 is on the table. I've gotten rid of that light square bishop, and, you know, I'm going after the king. That's how I play. And already here, black is doing, I'd say, kind of all right. Maybe, again, rook c1 can be dangerous with c takes d5 coming and not able to defend this. But, yeah, I mean, probably a better choice would have been taking on c4 first, d takes c4, make sure that file is closed, that no rook is going to be able to jump onto that c line, and then queen g4, h5, h4. So this was an idea that I think both of us just continued to miss. Queen to g4 was played. Knight to g1, trying to trade queens. I am not interested in that, and I jump back, as you can see there, queen to g6. Not trading those queens, jumping back, and still looking at the enemy king, maybe h5, h4 at some moment. Again, cd5 and rook c1 would have been a great way to generate counterplay if you're white. You know, I have the advantage here on the king side. White should be opening something on the queen side there. But I'm just focused on my idea. I'm just focused on what I want to do, the same way maybe I was in boxing. All right, bishop a1 was played. I'm playing here rook e8, and now something very fortunate for me happens, which is c5. So c5, and now I jump back bishop f8, and this is looking great, because there's no pawn trade over here. In order for there to be counterplay here, there needs to be some files open, some pawns not there, and this is just very good. cd5, knight d5, this could have been some play for white here. I understand that d3 can look a little weak, like rook d8 coming here, but this is pretty tough. Like, the knight needs to move somewhere, and this knight can jump into c5, queen can jump to c2. I mean, white can generate something on this side of the board. Instead, when c5 is played, this is huge for me, because it also makes my life very much easier, right? That I don't have to worry even about anything on the other side of the board, and I can totally focus on the king side and where our kings are. And also with rook e8, I created this nice little storage square, and I jump back bishop to f8. I played rook e8, bishop f8, so now my rook is looking pretty nice over there. Plays here now rook c1, defending that pawn. I'm just playing rook d8, bring that into the game. These are just easy moves I can play. Almost anything is fine now that the pressure's off. d4, and now a very important e4, right? So now we've really jammed that bishop in. It's so many dark square pawns. The bishop's not good, knight's not good, right? Wasn't able to generate play on the queen side. Even though, like, my rooks aren't doing anything here, we're now just going to be focused on this side of the board. This plays perfectly in blitz for me, because I'm really now playing with no risk, and I can just focus here playing h5, h4 without any counterplay coming anywhere else. I think I make fun of him there. I think right there I point to his bishop, and I'm like, he's not doing so well, as I'm like chewing on my mouth guard. Kind of funny. So queen to e2 played. There's my man Ben. So queen e2 attacking a6 right here. And again, I can play a5 and allow something in, but I just play rook a8. I just play rook a8, keeping anything out, like no squares, no axis here at all. So knight b2, h5. So what I would probably be doing if I were white, like knight b2, yeah, it moves a piece that was doing nothing, but I don't know where, like knight d1, f3 was his idea. I think a better idea, a piece that could be improving is knight h3, knight f4. That's annoying. That gets in the way of me. Maybe h4 then to stop g5. And then that can attack d5, and maybe then at some moment, if you're doing well, then you could play f3. But with the knight on d1, bishop on a1, the rook's not doing anything, I don't think white's going to be wanting to support f3. But I understand, like, it's hard to find a move here. Knight b2 played, and I'm playing here now h5, trying to play h4. And he continues with knight d1 and lets me play h4. And this is a bad moment for white to be playing f3, because that's going to be weakening g3 further. H takes g3, h takes g3. And here, yeah, knight e7 would have been very strong. Knight e7 just knight f5, hit g3. Like there's no reason why I can't just play like this. Like say he continues with like knight f2. Knight f5 is extremely strong. Targets there and there. After e takes f3, I can win one of these. No reason I shouldn't have done that. Here, I played e takes f3, which activates white's knight a little bit. Or you actually played queen takes f3. And I jump in knight e4, which is fine. But again, this knight, which was doing nothing, should be on f5 as soon as possible. Okay, knight f2, trying to trade off for the strong knight. Again, a better choice here. Yeah, I let white back in the game a little bit. Knight h3, knight f4, attacking this d5 pawn. Could have maybe caused me some problems there. Yeah, no reason why I had to capture on f3. And yeah, rook can come to f1. White maybe has a little bit of play coming now. No reason why I had to give them that. This knight should have gone straight to f5 and caused as many problems on these weaknesses as fast as possible. Also, could have had knight h4 check or something at that moment. So, in the game here, right, so knight f2 was played. My apologies. Knight f2 was played. I play here a5. a5 wasn't... It's a good idea, again, that like this knight should be coming to f5. But a5 trying to play a4, it's not the top engine choice, but it's a pretty sensible idea, just trying to make white's problems on multiple flanks here. This piece isn't doing anything. A takes b3, rook a2. Looks good. Makes sense in blitz to me. I'm not going to be too self-critical on that move. Knight takes e4 was played, and I played rook takes e4. Better was actually pawn takes e4 and creating this nice d5 outpost for my knight, and then a4 could have come sooner, so I can save a tempo there. I played here rook takes e4, knight h3, trying to come to f4. Here comes a4. Takes a4, rook takes a4. Trying to take a2. Knight f4 played. You can see there, I actually touched the queen and almost put it on g5 and rook takes a2. I think in actual chess boxing, it is touch move and not clock move. I think we both did it in this game. Queen g5, to be clear, I'm still better, but he could play rook e2, defend that pawn. It does come with check, so even though my queen is hit, I can take here with check. So, yes, I should not be doing that, though. I should not be doing that. I touched the queen, I should move the queen. I realized I could take this with check. So, but yeah, after queen g5 here, white should be playing something like rook e2 to defend that, and then the knight still coming over to f5, and black's position is still pretty nice here. And I quite like this, but, okay, not as nice as just grabbing that pawn for free. King g1 played. Queen h6. I'm looking at zigzagging in to... Oh, I jumped ahead. Rook takes a2 check. Slides back king g1. Now my queen was under attack. And I slide over to h6. Trying to play queen to h2. Rook e2 is played to stop that. And now, right, really this knight should be coming here. These pieces are not doing much. And I think I finally go for that with this trade. Now with g3 really undefended and d5 also hanging. Knight e7, I understand, like psychologically it's tough to block that bishop in, but the bishop was doing nothing. It is doing something, actually, like no counterplay here. So that's important. King g2 played. Sorry, king g2 played. Knight to f5. That was a sensible decision on their part, but the position just gets very tough to defend very quickly. Also with this passed b pawn that can distract them at any moment. Rook h1. Okay, so this was a nice moment to end the game. Yeah, queen takes h1 is also playable. King takes and knight takes g3 check, and I'll be up material in this endgame with a cute little fork there. I play knight takes e3 here, realizing that if queen takes e3, I can take on h1, or even take e3. But yeah, I'm still collecting a rook there for a knight as we trade queens. So that endgame is completely winning. Knight takes e3, so yeah, king g1 needed to be played, but then after just something like queen g5, the pressure here is overwhelming, and I should not be really getting mated on the h line there. So, yeah, knight takes e3. In the game, he plays king to f3, though, and I'm able to take on h1. Still got to finish the game. In chess boxing, there's no resigning. There's no reason to resign. You can always, get back in the ring and win there, right? So, if you're able to make me spend a little bit more time, hang on, even if it's one move before checkmate, get back to a boxing round, you can win there. So, I've got to make sure I'm playing fast and not allowing that to happen too much. Anyway, knight g2 here. Find the quickest winning idea, which is knight takes, queen takes, rook to e3 check, trying to distract the king here. King f2, rook e2 check, trying to take the queen next turn. Resigns. That is a great shot right there of me. My face a little bit battered, but we made it out. So that was my first chess boxing match. I'll cut back in a moment. But yeah, this is not official chess boxing, right? Official chess boxing would be we played chess, then pause and get back in the ring. The thing is, like, we needed the ring for other people, but that we still practice the transitions and practice, can I still take care of them with just getting hit in the head? So this was pretty decent for the first one, but definitely could be better. All right, we'll cut back now to very interesting discussions of more chess boxing strategy.
Okay, and then we have 2 more rounds to go through. These are about
So
a
it's
month
the jab
apart.
only rounds.
About a month, right?
Yeah, or less. Yeah.
I came in like mid-December, and then I came up like I guess like early January, mid-January almost. Yeah. So, so in that month, did you do any boxing training?
Yes, a little bit. I went to a couple of Williamsburg boxing gym classes and crunch classes, and I had my first one-on-one.
Okay, who's your one-on-one with?
Who's with, his name's Vic.
Okay, and tell me about Vic.
It's cool. Vic's been boxing, like he actually fights since he was 15. And yeah, he's an instructor also at the HIT place that I go to every day. Yeah, we went through a lot of things like footwork and also just the stance in general. He told me to keep my shoulders loose. We worked on throwing the jab quicker.
Okay, what weight is he? What weight did he compete at?
Vic must be like 180, 190.
Okay. So, when you pick a coach,
I'm just getting great stuff of looking at him.
When you pick a coach, it's important to pick someone. This isn't always tried and true, but as a general rule, picking someone around your weight, because different weight classes have different styles of fighting. You look at flyweight versus heavyweight. There's a volume difference, there's a power difference, which means there's also like stylistic differences. So looking for someone that's like, middleweight or lower, I think would be a good coach from experience for you. There are exceptions to this rule where there are just students of the game that understand all weight classes, all matchups, and are really good at coaching. Okay. Former fighters are pretty hit or miss with this. Because if you're a former fighter that's coaching to pay bills, you're usually not a good coach. It's a means to an end. You're focused on your fight career, and you aren't as much of a student of a game to be able to have the empathy to coach someone else. You're doing it for yourself. So that's just a paradigm, like a stereotype. There are exceptions to that rule, just like every rule.
Yeah, but I think Vic, I get it. I think Vic's great. I mean, he's a coach to a few people.
Great. Yeah. And there are former fighters that like get to a certain point and realize I'm a much better communicator and coach than I am competitor. And that was my experience. So there is a crossroads that most fighters come to where they either want to keep going themselves or they're like, I kind of know my role in this. And it's not necessarily being in the arena anymore.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of what you're saying holds true for chess as well. People who become chess coaches, and there's many boxing styles, there's many chess styles.
Exactly. and hence why our sport exists. There's so many parallels between the two.
Mhm.
Cool. So I'm glad you have a one-on-one coach. I think, is he at Williamsburg Boxing or is he at Crunch?
He is at Better Body Boot Camp, the hit place that I go to. Seeing him tomorrow, actually. We have a session.
Great. Okay. Is there a ring there or a heavy bag, or is he just doing mitt work with you?
Network.
Okay. That can work. And we'll bring him to Gleason's and stuff too. So,
Awesome.
or Williamsburg. Does Williamsburg Boxing have a ring?
They do, yeah.
Great. Okay. So
I might. Nick says he's very busy. Might not have time for me more than once a week, so I might be also going to Williamsburg Boxing and seeing if I can, get more work in there.
You want someone that's accessible and down for this journey, because we're packing what really should be like a 1 to 2 year ramp up to a first fight into like 9 months of preparing for a world championship.
Okay.
So the more privates you can have, the better. The fitness classes are okay. I'm not too worried about your fitness level. What I'm worried about is your technique and building bad habits. And if you do too many fitness classes where you're just left to your own devices to throw your own punches, and a group fitness coach either isn't going to know the technique or isn't going to have the bandwidth to be able to give you individualized feedback. So the more that you could prioritize private sessions, like I would even prioritize one private session over doing 3 fitness boxing classes in a week.
Okay. The fitness classes I go to are just generic high intensity interval trainings, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine too. Your general fitness level, it's great to work on that. The more that early on in this journey you can pack in the hands-on, technique-driven, build good habits kind of thing, the more it's just like investing. The more you're gonna get compounding interest on that. You're gonna have to go back and undo bad investments. You're gonna benefit from the interest and the dividends and everything that comes from investing in the right thing early. All right, let's watch this first one.
So this was jab only, right?
I think this is where we start with the jab, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm only...
No, it's only straight shots, because he just threw it right. Oh, you're only doing jab, that's right.
I can jab, he can throw anything. We're supposed to work on my defense against... It's not so bad.
Okay, what I like so far, your right hand is mostly staying at home, which is good.
There's nowhere else to go. I can't throw it.
That's helpful, but sometimes when you throw the jab, it comes down naturally. It's not even to load up another punch. It's almost like there's a string tied between the two of them that doesn't need to be there. When one goes out, the other comes down. And you're doing better with that right here. What I don't like is your and I gave you this feedback that day too, but you're overreacting to every shot.
Mm-hmm.
If something is coming into your field of vision and it's going to hit a glove or it's going to not do damage, let it come. You don't have to use energy responding to something that isn't actually a threat. So if it's coming in and it's going to fall short, or if it's coming in and you can just rotate your glove and parry it, or do the karate block and come all the way out, use less energy, make him do the work, let him come to you, let him open himself up, then the counterpunch is going to be there. And you're going to be more relaxed, and you're going to have more energy to take advantage of that counterpunch opportunity when it comes.
I don't like how I tried to parry. Wait, so go back. There was a shot to the body, and I tried to drop my hand to parry it, right? It should be with the elbow.
It's the same thing of overreacting to each shot. If there's a jab to the body, one, never block it with your glove. And two, you're doing that windshield wiper with your elbow.
Yes. It should be with the elbow, and I went like that, yeah.
And let me tell you from experience, punching an elbow hurts your hand way more than it hurts their elbow. Elbow is a very, very sturdy joint, right? It's not even like a kneecap where like you can displace a kneecap with a knee that goes wrong. An elbow is so sturdy. So if you're able to throw that elbow into his punch, he's gonna think twice before throwing another body shot, because he doesn't want to hit that solid bone again. It's like punching a wall, but it's sharper than a wall. You can almost direct it into the fist. So for those body punches, try to use them against him.
Yeah.
Froze up a little bit with that jab.
Like I'm still trying to come in, even though I can only jab.
You're also, because I'm taking away your other punches, you're trying to make your jab be every other punch. So you're almost trying to power up on some of these jabs. You're like loading up on it.
Yeah.
When you're doing defensive jabbing, just flick it out there like a whip, right? It's not a battering ram, it's a whip. Whack, 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 whack. You can just like backhand them, basically. Little flick jabs. Make them think about stuff, keep them away, establish your distance.
The more powerful one would be the one where like I bring the right shoulder back a little bit as I come out with it. Otherwise, it's just...
Yeah, I mean, it depends. So like an exit jab after a combo, you can pivot and put more of your shoulder and your hip into it, and then get back to space. That can be a power punch. It's very rare that a jab is a power punch, but an exit jab is one case where it can be. Another is just like a battering ram jab, but you have to load up a little bit more on it. It's more predictable. So all of these are situational whenever you have power on a jab. In general, I want your jab to be fast and not necessarily intended to land. Your jab can set up other shots. It can establish distance. It can be a defensive maneuver to get back to space. You can make your opponent think about stuff and react to stuff. Punches don't always have to land to be useful. So you don't have to power up on this. You can flick it out there. You can backhand it. We'll practice all different kinds of jabs too. Not all jabs are created equally. Right? You can go straight out, straight back. You can kind of come from your center and flick out. You can come from your outside, and that's more of the battering ram, or more of your pec and your shoulder muscles are involved in it. But yeah, you don't have to load up on every jab. Not saying
in general, it's just quickest distance, point A to point B. Yeah?
Exactly, straight line.
Yep.
I like the jab to the head, the jab to the body there.
Yep. I guess we added the cross.
He caught you with a right. Yep.
Yep. I mean, I guess my cross was very predictable. He was way under it.
I think I freed you up for the cross now.
Okay.
Yeah, you threw a couple, so that must have.
That's good, yeah. I like just moving him back.
You caught him with a hook against the ropes, and I was like, okay, straight shots, but that was a good hook too. You set up that hook well. Okay, so he caught you with a counter here that we should cover.
Something about what I'm doing is just trading shots in general, which is...
Against a smaller guy is fine. Against Alex, you don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So here's where the first problem is. You see all of his weight, all of his potential energy is in his back hip, and that right hand is coming up, right? So that overhand right shot is your most dangerous threat.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, there it comes. So it comes right over the top, boom, catches you right on the temple, right on the forehead, and that lead hand isn't there to defend it, and the shoulder isn't high enough to deflect it off. So you can do two things there. You can either drive your lead hand forward, and that can get in the way, so it isn't a clean shot. He's kind of hitting a forearm. That's kind of like a karate way of doing it, right? So you're basically crowding his space that the punch is going to come between. Or you can just come right back to your cheek and your ear, and the punch is going to catch at least some of it. But ideally, your guard is beating is winning the race to your head before his big, slow, looping power punch.
Caught again.
Okay, so he kind of had an illegal thing there that we'll cover real quick. So he's gonna, this lead hand is down. This is not a good position for him to be in. And this is kind of what I was talking about before when a ref will warn you for bringing your head too low. This is kind of the position I was talking about. So you're going to rotate outside of his lead shoulder, which is a great place for you to be. You're really safe back there because this right hand can't come all the way up and around, and it can't come through his body to hit you. So you're safe from his power punch, and his lead hand, you're going to see him try to throw it, and it's going to end up being an illegal forearm or elbow. Boom. So he's not hitting you with the scoring part of his glove. He's hitting you with kind of the outside of his forearm. Okay, so he would get warned or called for that if the ref saw it, which he probably would.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what your hand's doing.
No, I don't.
Yes, William, in the back, do you have an answer? Okay, so
I don't know why I would do that.
It's up, and then you extend it to try to establish distance. The first punch was illegal. The second punch is great, and you're gonna see him fix his feet. Watch his feet. Let's go back real quick.
I like that frame where we were both landing a punch there.
Okay, so his weight is on his lead foot, the lead ball of his foot. He's gonna pivot this back foot all the way around to be able to face you, and then just dial up that cross. Boom. You see him pivoting on his back foot.
Yeah, that was a quick
He's
move.
turning, and then he's coming over your lead shoulder. Your shoulder's actually pretty high. I like your shoulder placement here. But he comes over the shoulder and lands a shot on the temple. Now you're set up to throw your right hand, and you catch him right back. So pretty good trade. I think he was in a disadvantaged position and was able to make something of it and land a right hand. You're in an advantaged position.
Was it because my hand was up here that wasn't there to block the cross?
I think that's like a secondary effect here.
Okay.
So right hand goes out, left hand's low right now.
Yeah.
He's going to come up with his lead hand. It's going to jam you. I think you were trying to get the lead hand out of the way.
Yeah.
I think you were trying to push it. It came in your face, and I think you were trying to like get it off your face. And then that right hand came right in the hole that was created. But here's your right hand, boom, head snaps back, and now you're back to distance, and you're composed. You just got caught. You're breathing, you're circling, you're in space, you're okay. That's a good recovery. Okay, anytime both of your hands are extended, I want bells to be going off in your head.
Yeah.
It's one or the other, right? You're never having both out at the same time. One, it's illegal. A ref is going to do this motion, and then either give you a warning or an actual caution. And two, if both of your hands are out, there's nothing defending you.
Yeah.
Really nice cross. You timed that perfectly, right? He threw kind of a weak-ass combo, opened himself up, and boom, put him right on the chin.
That might have been the best thing I ever done right there, because that was actually like good defense and at times a counter.
I agree. So
That might have been the best thing I ever did in a ring.
And you stayed at home when he threw his punch. You see, watch your lead hand and how it deflects his rear hand up. Okay, even better, you step forward like you're about to throw a jab. That's a feint. You feint it before any of this. That's great too. There's another feint. He sets it up. You see it coming. You deflect this hand up, and then boom, throw it right down the middle where his hand isn't. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay,
Going
good
right
stuff.
to the board.
So you ended that round with probably one of your best exchanges.
Yeah.
Who's this?
It's Ben, and again, so I'm jab only. He's everything.
Oh, Ben. Okay.
The jab only I should be working on is just defense and trying to get distance.
Okay. I would say the same to Ben, to his face. Ben does not have the natural aggression that you have. He's very skittish to come into engagement range. And you see even how his body is in this random freeze frame that I just stopped on. His weight is back. His upper body is leaning at almost a 45-degree angle away from you. Whereas your body is closer to straight up, but also leaning forward. When you watch fights, look at footwork, where their feet are placed when they set up their shots, and look at their upper body positioning. If it's forward, if it's back, and then what style goes along with that. Generally, when you're rocking back like this, it's a counterpunch style. Generally, when you're leaning forward, you're coming forward. It's more so like your style is more of a Mexican style of boxing. Mexicans.
I watched all the Canelo, Golovkin, all three of them the past couple nights.
Canelo started out in the Mexican school of boxing and was all aggression, and then he changed when he fought Floyd and he learned defense. So Canelo is Mexican boxing gone right because he incorporated defense, which is what has made him who he is. Mexican boxers fall short because eventually you run out of steam. Eventually, whether it's in a fight or in a career, you can't always be all-out aggression. You can't always come forward and knock people out or overwhelm them with punches. Eventually, you're going to need a different, tool in your tool belt.
Right.
So watching Mexican-style boxers is good for you to learn how to attack, see what kind of weapons they use and how they string them together. But I want you watching a lot of defensive boxing too.
So that includes recent Canelo.
Correct. Yeah, Canelo's a good person to watch.
There are so many moments that I'm like, I really want to throw this. Am I right?
Yeah, it's funny that that's your nature. It's like, I want to attack. Yeah, I see you loading up to right.
Yeah. It's that where he ducks and raises the lead hand. I should be throwing to the body when he's doing that, yeah.
I know we're practicing defense for you here, but I think you could be piecing him up. I mean, he's not giving you much to have to react to.
I like this little
He kind of freezes up.
I go like this with my shoulders and with my head when I approach. I don't know if I don't know. I like it. Oh.
Things like that can look cool. You can like it. It can also be a tell. Like there are people that kind of gallop into exchanges.
But I can attack with my left or with my right. Like I'm kind of feinting. You know.
Yeah, if they're feints and it's unpredictable, great. If you do the same thing every time, that's when people are going to start to be able to time you and counter you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's review this exchange.
Wow.
So this is good because you are jumping in and out of his range. This is a Russian style of boxing. The Russian school of boxing is very bouncy and constantly shifting forward and backwards to never really let your opponent know if you're a jab length away or not. So let's just watch it first. Okay, what do you see there?
So I kind of stumble forward a little bit. Like, I don't think it was great footwork coming forward. And then I think also with my left, it comes down. Like, I got him. But, like, I saw an opening and my left came down. My feet, like, I squared my feet a little bit.
So here's what you did really well. You had a natural rock back motion.
Yeah, I like that.
That was at the length of his jab. So his jab couldn't come any further unless he reset and stepped forward again. So you basically fully like took away his jab.
Yeah, that didn't land. Yeah.
And then you tied it up with your lead hand. You know, don't necessarily want you doing that, but it worked here. And then what was open was the right hand over the top. So I think to your point, it could be a little cleaner, whatever technique, etc. But the important part is once he fully extended it, then you didn't keep going backwards. You didn't let his momentum keep coming forward. You rocked back and then came back with one of your own and used his momentum against him. Boom. And then here it comes again. You're setting up the second shot. You're a little spread out with your feet here. You see how you're kind of like ballet up on your toe?
Yeah.
I would like your feet a little closer together when you throw the second punch, because it's going to have more power on it. You're going to have more mobility. Boom. Watch the back of the head. I think that one's okay. It's above the ear, but it's a little close. So there's two right hands at the end. Boom, boom. That's your prize for managing the mobility of the exchange well. Right?
Right.
The early shots didn't really do much. They really just set up those last two. And so much of boxing is that. You want to land every punch. You want every punch to be doing something. But oftentimes you might, have 4 steps and 5 punches just to land one good punch. And that's okay.
I think I also need to just be pushing off the back foot there instead of like stepping with the left, stepping with the right,
Yeah, having your back foot rooted and having your feet a little closer together is going to be a good thing to train. So whenever you do find that coach that you can be with consistently, I'd love to come train with you or talk to him. Tell him how chess boxing is different than boxing, because some boxing coaches will train just like a regular boxer. You don't necessarily want to do that. There's some tweaks that you need to make when you're coaching a chess boxer, and then the coaching points will be. I think we need to shorten your stance, widen it a little bit. So shorten lengthwise, widen like widthwise, and then practice throwing shots in one place with your weight back. So you feel your weight on your back hip, you feel your weight on your back ball of your foot, and you feel how much more torque and force you're able to generate when your back foot is down. Because once you start feeling that, it's going to feel weird doing anything but that when you're actually in a live situation.
I think there was a lot of improvements here based off of, from a few weeks prior. I think like even right now, looking at the stance, you can see the stance is so much better. The feet aren't squared, right? Like that's exactly where my feet want to be. And my shoulders look looser. Like I'm a smaller target right now. Like the whole stance looks good here.
Yes, I think it's better.
My head's leaning forward. I don't know.
Head's forward and you're square. So the shot that's open here that Ben wasn't throwing is an uppercut.
Yeah.
So he jabs at the top of your head to bring your attention up there. So maybe your arms come up, or maybe he just catches the top of your head. And then what's open, because you're square, is in between your elbows, the rear uppercut is there. So what I would throw against you here,
turn my left shoulder more towards him,
is literally I would just tap you with a jab, boom, and then behind that jab, it's uppercut and hook.
Yeah.
The uppercut is going to bring your guard in close. The hook is going to be the power punch that lands on the side of your head. So jab, uppercut, hook, and then I jab out to safety, and I just got 3 punches in the exchange, and I'm back to space. Boom, boom, boom. It's like collecting material and just like playing for an endgame.
Turn the left shoulder more in, yeah?
Yeah, I would close off a little bit more, and I would sit a little bit more upright. You have height and reach on him, so make him come to you. If you're forward, it's because you want to bait a shot, and you can rock back and come back. But you aren't as much of a counter puncher.
Yeah.
You aren't as much of a natural counter puncher. You did counter Arthur in the last round, but what comes most naturally to you is coming forward.
Okay.
And we just,
Yeah, I was trying to work on having the shoulders low and having the head tucked a little bit more.
Okay, so he was able to get a shot through in this space stance. Let's see what happened. So there's that jab that brought your guard up. And then that lead hand was extended right around his chest, and he was able to get a right hook through. And then you got your own right through. So the good thing is, generally when your opponent is able to find a punch on you, you tend to at least trade shots, which is good. Instead of losing a piece, you trade pieces.
Because I don't react to getting hit, and I'm still trying to hit them.
Right. That's part of it. Yeah.
He just comes back. Did I hit him that hard there?
He was just off balance.
Oh, okay.
I think he caught that shot, but he was trying to circle when he got caught and just sent him into the ropes. Much better round. I don't think that Ben is the best matchup for you in drills like this. I think Ben needs a little bit more experience too. I like Arthur with you because he'll kind of be a mosquito buzzing around you. And you have some stuff coming back at you that you need to worry about.
Yeah, it will punish me for being out of control.
Yeah, and I wish Arthur had like 15 more pounds on him, and he would be a perfect regular sparring partner for you. But I think as you continue to improve, you're gonna outgrow being able to work with Arthur, just because of his size.
Right.
So, great rounds.
We talk about the transitions.
Great start.
Also,
yeah.
Breathing.
Yeah. So, I guess we
thought
can
you see me breathing there.
We can go back to this one and talk about that.
So basically, like, my heart rate is through the roof. My adrenaline levels are through the roof, and when I'm going back to the board, I need the exact opposite. I have no problem amping myself up, but amping myself down.
Yes. So when you end a boxing round, you're probably in zone 4 or zone 5 heart rate. So for you, young, healthy, it's probably in the high 160s, 170s, maybe in the 180s. So as soon as a round ends, the quicker you can drop 60 to 80 beats per minute in a minute, the more of a head start it's going to give you against your opponent. The less hard your heart has to work to get blood everywhere it needs to go, and to release bandwidth so that your brain is able to shift from your amygdala to your prefrontal cortex, the more set up for success you're going to be. So what we practice is down-regulation breathing. Breath is a great way to affect heart rate. There are other ways, but there's nothing more accessible immediately upon the bell ringing than starting to manage your breath. And it's a tough thing to do right off the bat, but as soon as you hear that bell, treat it like Pavlov's dog and that dinner bell rings. Instead of salivating, it is an immediate full exhale. The reason you do that is you want to create that carbon dioxide deficiency, basically open up these oxygen receptors in your body by emptying out any stale air that you've been holding in your lungs naturally. Subconsciously, we hold a little bit of air in our lungs. We have to consciously fully exhale to get already used air all the way out. So bell rings, sharp inhale, and then as long as you can make the first exhale last, the more you're setting the tone for the rest of the breath pattern through the rest of the transition round. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So sharp inhale probably lasts 2, maybe 3 seconds. Then try to exhale
All through the mouth. Yeah.
Try to breathe through the nose. You aren't always going to be able to breathe through the nose if your nose gets messed up. So it could be bleeding, in which case you definitely don't want to breathe out of your nose. Like snot rocketing blood out of your nose can open up whatever is cut up there more and make you bleed more.
Okay.
And fights get caught for excessive blood a lot, which is annoying because it shouldn't matter how much you're bleeding. It should matter how, if you're able to continue the fight. But you want to avoid any potential that a ref has to stop the fight because he has a bad day, he wants to take it out on you, or because he likes the other guy or whatever. So the more that you can take away from the ref, the better. Which is why it's important to practice breathing in through the nose, even when your nose is a little messed up. Because the more you can breathe that stuff in, if you can spit it out in a spit bucket in between rounds, that's a lot better than seeing it come out on the canvas on your shirt from your nose. Right?
The exhale comes from the mouth, obviously, right?
If your nose is bleeding, definitely. If you can do all of your breathing through a
long exhale through the nose?
If you can do all your breathing through your nose, that's best case scenario. That's best case scenario. That's difficult to do. I don't do that. Okay. By the end of the round, I will be doing that. But at the beginning, and you're doing that or small hole kind of exhale through your mouth to try to control the pace of the exhale. Otherwise, you're just going to drop the exhale super fast. All the air is going to exit the lungs. And you're going to be gasping for the next inhale instead of controlling the next inhale. So it's slow, controlled inhale through the nose, ideally through down to the belly, and then expanding the chest. Making it last as long as you can. There are a few subconscious patterns and conscious myths that you need to overcome at the beginning of breathwork. The first is that you need air in your lungs in order to have oxygen in your blood or in your brain. The oxygen that's in your blood and your brain right now was breathed in seconds or minutes ago. So you're already resourced in this moment. What you're breathing for is the future. Because it takes your body some time to extract that fuel out of the air and send it to where it needs to go. So when you're breathing in, it's okay to breathe out for a long time or to hold with empty lungs, which is another big benefit if you can get yourself to be able to do that. The longer you exhale and the longer that you hold with empty lungs, the more you're able to transition to parasympathetic nervous system, or parasympathetic sympathetic, and the more you're able to downregulate and get your heart rate to drop. The more your heart rate drops, the more that you feel safe, and the more that you feel safe, the more you can exit that fight or flight and open up your brain to be able to use more past and future parts of it to be able to rely on memory and pattern recognition, or to start to calculate and think moves ahead.
Interesting, yeah.
Any questions?
I remember you said that it's very common, first move back on the board after boxing, blunder.
Yep, happens a lot. And then take boxing out of the equation. How many times in chess tournaments have you seen one blunder lead to 3 more mistakes?
Yep.
And it's because as soon as you make a mistake, you're in your amygdala. So it's like you just finished a boxing round. You feel threatened, you feel scared, you feel judged if people are watching. All of those things put you in your amygdala. So that feeling of I just blundered is the same feeling as I just got punched and now I need to make a next move. It has very little to do with the force that is transferred in the punch. It has a lot more to do with fatigue and fear. Fatigue and fear are our enemy, not getting hit hard. It's very rare that you actually get knocked out, like clean out. What you have to battle is your resilience and your recovery.
Right, okay. I like that. I think for me, I think that my strengths there play well in chess boxing, in that I feel very in control of my mind and my psyche. And lately I've even just in chess in a vacuum that it has not bothered me blundering and then being able to continue fighting in chess. Or even at states, I had the most brutal loss of my career in round 3, where I was in a winning end game and I didn't hit the clock by literally a fraction of a second, and I lost round 3, and then I thought it was over, but I won the next 3 rounds and it worked out. But so yeah, I kind of like that. I really appreciate the very psychological component of this sport.
Yeah, and it's going to challenge you in different ways. Like it's great that you have this in chess. It's great that you have this confidence going into it, and this is going to help you evolve. Like you're going to be taken outside of your comfort zone. You're going to have to swim in the deep end and figure it out. And coming out the other side, you're going to be stronger. And hopefully we can do that to you before it's done to you in Serbia.
Yeah.
So the state-specific training is going to be really important. It's why I want you to spar a couple rounds before you actually start getting into the format of chessboxing. Because I'm not worried about your rest at chess. There's nothing we need to train there. What we need to train is your fatigued, your battered, your fearful chess. We need to get you into a state that could happen in the World Championship. Maybe it never happens. Maybe you have smooth sailing all the way to World Championship, experience no adversity. Great. Like, we want to prepare for the worst case scenario. So, the more that we can, dose you with that adversity and those challenges prior to them being forced upon you, the more reps you're going to have in that state, and the more comfortable you're going to be in that state when you're eventually forced into it.
That's great. That makes total sense. I mean, this was the first mini test right there, because I just, gotten hit in the head, and I'm playing Alex, who's a decent player, and I had to grind this game down.
Exactly. And I talked to Alex about it. I'm not sure if you would agree, but he said he had an advantage at one point, and then you kind of turned it around. I didn't watch the game. I haven't seen it, but that was his.
I have not checked it with an engine, but I would be surprised very much so if it corroborated that.
I like that. Okay. Well, I'll look forward to the Gambit man.
Yeah, I will check it with an engine. How about that?
Exclamation point William in chat. If you want to go to his YouTube channel, check it out. And we'll be tracking his journey to the Chessboxing World Championship on his channel, and I'll have him on stream more too. We'll do more reviews like this. Maybe he'll teach me a few gambits if I'm lucky, and yeah,
you've taught me a couple things. I think it's only fair.
Okay, deal. Nice. I had a nice lesson with Deepak yesterday on stream. He shared a bunch of peace, sacrifice, checkmate puzzles that were pretty fun. Kind of like
cool.
Setup shots, setup knockout shots.
Okay.
But yeah, anytime you want to come on. I mean, I sign up for as many chess TV slots as I can. I'll be streaming all week, all next week. So, if you want to do anything, let me know.
Love that. Where do you think I stand right now in terms of my chances, in terms of Team USA's chances? Like let's talk big picture for a second before I go.
I think it's going to be very difficult for anyone to straight up beat you in chess in the chess boxing world. There are strong chess players, but I think that you could at least play those people to a draw where it would have to be decided in the ring. The big question mark is who else is going to be in your weight division? Who in your weight division has a lot of boxing experience? And can they successfully corner you or exert their will to land enough shots to take away your biggest weapon, which is being very comfortable on the chessboard? So the advice that I give you is the same advice that I give Deepak. Both of you are aggressively minded people. You like coming forward. You like attacking on the chessboard and checkmating, and that translates to the ring. The challenge for both of you is going to be to develop the discipline and the self-awareness of when you can do that safely and when ultimately you need to revert to a defensive-minded, evasive, mobile kind of style to conserve as much energy, take as few risks, and win where you're best. And you might, hear the crowd booing because you're running away, and you might want to silence them by showing them how much, technique you've practiced or how much power you have. But the more that you can put your ego aside and stay reserved, conserve your energy, and remember the trade.
There will be another fight, right?
What's up?
Because there will be another fight if you win.
Correct. Yeah, and I'm talking finals. But you need to get past the first couple rounds before we even get the chance to fight in the finals. So that's the other thing. Doing some sort of camp, maybe a month and a half, 2 months out from the fight, where you're sparring hard multiple days in a row. That is good reps to get, because that third day when you don't want to spar, that's going to be like the finals. You're going to have fought 3 days in a row. So as sore as you were after the couple rounds of sparring that we did first, second day, maybe you weren't sore much, or maybe you're sore a little bit, but we want you really comfortable in that state and still able to perform at the level that you can perform at.
Hey, awesome.
But I think you have an excellent chance. I tell everyone, hey, would you rather have a good athlete that's a chess player, or a boxer who's smart but has never played chess? I would much rather have the experienced chess player that's a good athlete. I think it's easier to mold a boxer than it is to teach a chess player.
It is objectively a little scarier for a chess player who picked up boxing to fight a boxer who picked up chess.
It takes more courage for sure. Because a boxer can step in there and be like, whatever, I'll get checkmated, but hopefully I get around to try to knock him out,
Yeah.
And you're going to get up against those guys. So we need to train you to be ready to evade and wear out those guys.
It would hurt less for Usyk to lose on the board for me than for me to step in the ring with him.
Exactly right. So, the nice thing is at the World Championship level now, we don't have as many of those guys that are just like so one-sided that, it's.
Yeah.
I don't want to say unfair,
sport in itself,
but like we have much more well-rounded people that practice the format than even when I started in the sport 6 years ago. So, 7 years ago. So that is, I think, to your advantage, because people are more moderate at both than really excellent in one or the other. There are some people that are great at one or the other. If you go to the United Chessboxing YouTube channel, you can watch one fight with Baptiste. He's a French national champion in boxing, who's about 1,200 in chess. In my description. What's up?
I'll link that below.
Oh, okay. That's where all of the World Championship fights from the 2024 World Championship is on United Chessboxing. Okay. So all of the high-level matches and the best production quality that we've ever had are all on that YouTube channel.
What's special about chess boxing now? Like, it seems to be like kind of big moment. There's more sponsors. There's more interest, right? I don't know. I'm involved in it now, obviously, so that makes it special.
Yeah, I mean, what the people getting involved with it now are benefiting from are 20 years of hard work in the dark. Yeah. So, you know, it was Ipe who started in 2003, and mostly his blood, sweat, and tears and debt that got it to the point where it is. And he died in 2020. He died alone in debt. Some of his last phone calls made were trying to get more money for chess boxing because he wasn't able to have any events, which was his only income. So someone like that literally more or less gave his life so that this sport could be born. And now there's a lot of momentum behind the sport because of events like Ludwig that brought you and many others into the sport. The event like the Paris Olympics, the exhibition that happened in July, that gave us a lot more brand name recognition and legitimacy when we're pitching sponsors, which is ultimately what led to us getting a $75,000 sponsorship to move the World Championship to Serbia this year. Is, you know, we've had this buildup of higher profile events with more viewership that have gone well, that have been entertaining, that people don't leave saying, wow, I feel like I got scammed. I wish I could get my ticket price back. It's the opposite effect. It's the UFC effect of every time you see one, you want to see more. And
it's the coolest thing to watch.
If you have a little bit of knowledge,
definitely a spectator sport
of chess, if you have a little bit of knowledge of chess, I think it's the best thing to watch. If you have no idea what's going on with chess, you're going to be a little lost. You're going to be drawn to it for the absurdity and the curiosity of it, but you might not stick around. You need to know a little chess in order to understand how they interplay. Anyone can understand boxing. And the more that you understand boxing, the more that you'll appreciate the sport. But it's really the chess knowledge that will separate the fans with staying power from the fans that will like watch it once and be like, hey, I heard about this weird thing. Let me tell my friends. Which we need those people too. It's fine, but
every person I tell this to, well, that's not true, but the vast majority of people I tell this to think it's cool. I think it's very, very cool. They're like, and you know, I think it's awesome. Obviously, I think it makes the most sense. I think, like, it's like, okay, why not chess wrestling? Why not chess baseball? Right? I think it makes the most sense. I think the expression "it's a chess match" is really overused in general. Like, you hear, I don't know, is the coach going to call their timeout before or after the 2-minute warning? Like, okay, that's not quite as many possibilities as chess. But, you know, when you watch like a technician like Floyd or like Canelo now, it really is like, because it's such a distilled form of combat, it requires such extraordinary specialization, reading your opponent and outsmarting them. And so it really is chess with your fists. And so I think it makes a lot of sense that you have, you know, you're in the ring on the chessboard, you're playing chess in the ring, and then the bringing them both together, and now you have the component of, okay, do I press in the chess, do I press in the ring, like how do I transition between the two? That is also a chess match in and of itself. And so I think, I don't know, I think there's a ton of sense to the sport. I think it's just so cool. It's like the ultimate mental test, it's the ultimate physical test, but it's all chess.
Brain and brawn, mind and body. William Grafe, I officially dub you an ambassador for the sport. And let me give you some ammo for your chamber for some of these parallel discussions, because you're going to understand the chess immediately, and you're learning boxing, so this will be good for you. When people ask about the parallels between the two, the first thing I say is punches are like pieces. So the same way that a piece can work in isolation, a bishop can capture just, you know, on its own, they're so much more powerful together when they're working together. So when you punch in bunches, when you use your pieces in combinations, they work much better together. And they all function like different pieces. So straight punches are your most powerful, most direct pieces. You want to use them to win games. Those are your rooks, right? They're predictable, but they're powerful.
Mm.
Your knights are more tricky. And those are like hooks. They jump around your opponent's defense. They can come from a downward angle. They can come from an upward angle. So you usually don't see those punches coming, which is why they're good knockout shots. Whenever your eyes can see a punch coming, your brain will subconsciously prepare for it. When your eyes can't see a punch coming and your intuition doesn't sense it, and you get hit with something that you have no idea what hit you, that's when you can lose consciousness, and that's when people get knocked out. So hooks are good at doing that. And you've been in an end game with a knight that just seems to capture every piece, and you don't know how. At least I have. So, or maybe you've been controlling the knight. So those are hooks, and then uppercuts. They're kind of like snipers. You don't use them all the time, but when you use them, they're really useful, and they can come from weird angles. So those uppercuts to the body, uppercuts to the head, they kind of function like bishops. And you think of bishops as long range, but the other reason why I think uppercuts are more like bishops is bishops are really good in batteries too, and they can power up other shots. When your bishops are combined with a with either a queen, and you get to battery up, it's like that combination I was saying I would have used against you in that boxing round, the jab, uppercut, hook.
Yeah,
that kind of thing is a Tyson knockout combination, just bread and butter. You can see 15 different knockouts where he did that same exact thing. So that's number one, punches or pieces. Number two is space control. So controlling the center 4 squares of the board is one of the first principles you learn in chess. And what is called in boxing is ring generalship. And you have natural ring generalship. Natural ring.
Almost never find myself at the ropes.
Exactly. So controlling the center of the ring is just like controlling the center of the board. You can force your opponent into ropes or into corners where they don't want to be. You can take away mobility from them so that they wind up in spots that they don't want to be in, and then you can use that to your advantage. In amateur boxing,
there's a lot of parallels between my chess style. Like, I'm never the one playing like b6, g6, and letting my opponent take the center. If my opponent does that, I will take the center. Right? And obviously in chess, I'm extremely aggressive and like going for their king. So I think it's coming out here subconsciously.
There you go. I think the way you do one is like, I love the saying, the way you do something is the way you do everything. So you can learn a lot by how they do a simple task. Are they doing it thoroughly? Are they paying attention to details? It's similar. So yeah, I think I haven't watched much of your chess, but I imagine it's similar. Just because why would you be aggressive in boxing and super passive in chess?
Super aggressive in
Yeah.
chess. Yeah.
So yeah, controlling space, and then resource management is the last. So in chess, it's material and it's time.
Makes
Okay.
sense, yeah.
In boxing, it's energy and it's time. So in the same way that every piece can get you a tempo or it can win you a piece, it's the same with every step and every punch in boxing. You give up something every time you take something. Every time you push a pawn, you're weakening 2 squares. Every time you throw a punch, you open up 2 holes. And time is the same way. So you can use time to your advantage in a big way in chess boxing just by being able to zoom out and have a macro kind of perspective of what's going on. If I know I won 2 boxing rounds and I see a perpetual check or a way to force a draw, there's no reason not to go ahead and do that. Even if I think I can take a chance and maybe win in chess, there's no reason to. I'm going to do the perpetual check, and I'm going to win on the judges' scorecards. That's fine. And a really good fight from the 2023 World Championship to watch that in action is a 2100 level player named Valentin Marcel. He did it against a Russian named Sergey. Really good match. So
Russian named Sergey sounds like an excellent chess boxer.
he's good, but he wasn't as good as the Frenchman, Valentin. Okay. Valentin is the new GOAT. He's this generation's GOAT so far. He's the guy to beat. He's a lot heavier than you. I don't think you guys will ever fight.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I don't think you guys will ever fight, but He fought in the Olympics against like the old guard goat. This guy named Carl Strugnall, who, if you watch some of the United Chessboxing videos, he's the guy that I always commentate with. Not always.
Okay.
Sometimes I commentate with our president, Laura, but she's a girl voice. He's a boy voice. If it's a boy voice and it's not a Russian, it's Carl. If it's a Russian, it's Peter Zukov, who's the head of the Russian Federation. And he was one of the first investors in Ipe to help build the sport. He's a Russian private equity guy. Really cool guy.
Oh, interesting.
So those are the 3 examples I give people in interviews or in casual conversation when they ask about like what the similarities are. Punches are like pieces. That's the easiest thing to understand. Different punches, different pieces. They do different things. They work well together. Controlling space. So controlling the center of the ring, making your opponent do things that they don't want to do, just like the chessboard. And then resource management. Control your energy, control your material, control your time. All of that comes back to your breath too.
I think psychology also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I think often I can make someone scared of me in chess. So like, you know, if I just coming at their king, they're gonna like maybe not necessarily call my bluff, and you know, allows me to keep pressing. I think you saw a couple instances before where I was even open for Arthur to counter, and he was maybe a little scared. But yeah, I don't know.
For sure. Yeah. I think as you do it
the
more,
best way to be at it, but
as you do it more, you're going to learn more and more what your natural tendencies are and which ones are good and you can work around and use, and which ones are hurting you that lead to potential pitfalls. And then we try to train those out or solve for them somehow.
Okay.
So next, your homework, I want you to shadow box for 3 minutes and send me a video.
Okay. I do it for a lot longer than that, but
1 round. I
all the time when I'm rocking around.
Look, in just 3 minutes,
yeah.
I guarantee you're gonna run out of combination ideas to throw, and there's like it. Try to do it like you're fighting someone. Shadow box like it's real. And every time you shadow box, whether someone's watching or not, try to do that. Because every
we'll go do that right now.
Yeah, every rep you do matters. The way that you do it matters. The state that you're in, when you do it matters. The more you can get very just excellent reps, the easier this whole process is going to be for you. If you kind of warm up like it doesn't matter, you're throwing lazy punches, your sloppy footwork because no one's watching, your coach isn't there yet, you're just getting a little warm, try to avoid any of that. Try to develop a switch in your head where when you switch it on, you're all the way on. This is the version of you that's going to compete for a world championship. So every punch, every step, every breath matters.
Okay. But still keep the shoulders loose.
That's part of it. Yeah. Doesn't mean you have to be tense when every punch, every step, every breath matters. It's you want to do the opposite.
It sounded a moment ago like I should be tense. But yeah.
So that's actually a really good point. So psychologically, the way that you intook that information was, okay, if I'm going to be performing in a peak way, like I would in a world championship, I need to be tense. It's the opposite. That shadow boxing round, you can have perfect technique and be loose. You can have perfect technique and really creative combinations and be visualizing punches coming in and countering them well. You can be doing all of that and be loose. I think that's the first mental hurdle to get over, is you don't have to be this tense Iron Mike Tyson who's so tightly wound that he needs to knock someone out in order to have any relief. That is not who you are.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's what my brain is, but it's not what my body is.
You might be more on that side of the spectrum, but Mike Tyson, when his pigeon was killed in front of him when he was 12 years old, and he was so mad that he wanted to kill him, And when he tried to kill him, he got beat up, and that's what led him to his first boxing gym. That's his origin story.
He's from Brooklyn, yeah. He went to Gleason's.
From Brooklyn, yep. Trained at Gleason's. Was homeless. Was taken in by his coach Customata. Has a great story, but that kind of childhood trauma, that kind of early start, that kind of psychological control that he was under from Customata, who was a licensed hypnotherapist, a psychologist, and a boxing coach. He created a knockout weapon. So I try to encourage people not to watch Mike Tyson when they're training for a first fight or when they're early on in boxing. It's not helpful.
I've always been an appreciator of the lower weight classes of like I said before, of the Floyds, of the Canelos, and the technique of it, not just the big punches like a Tyson or a Wilder.
That would be better for you to watch.
Yeah.
I think for you, people like Lomachenko and Triple G, the Eastern European style, where they're still aggressive, but they have really clean technique and footwork, and they use angles well. Those are going to be good for you to watch for attacking. And then for defending, be careful about watching Floyd, because I don't think I want you in a Philly shell. I don't think I want you with your lead hand down.
Yeah. Okay.
So
it's just incredible. But yeah.
Yeah. But he was raised in a boxing family. Like he is so used to punches coming at him and how to use those punches against people that in 9 months, leading up to this world championship, we're not going to have you at that place yet.
Right. But what we were just talking about, taking it very seriously and maybe even having a fight response, but still not being tense, that needs to come with having some comfort of punches coming at you, right? And also, that also goes back to not overreacting defensively, just being okay with letting it come to my glove, right? That's the psyche I need to get to.
Yeah, and part of it is developing a natural radar for punches. So the first round of any sparring, if you know you're going to be sparring a couple rounds against the same guy, the first round is a feel-out round where you're starting to learn their distance, so how far they can jab, their timing, and their patterns. Do they drop their shoulder right before they throw their jab? Do they inhale, like take a sharp inhale before they power up for a combination? Little things you're kind of taking mental notes of. So that you can start to unpack, deconstruct, and then figure out what the solution is to that person that is kind of working like a puzzle. But first, you need to learn yourself, and then you develop all the tools in your tool belt, and then once you have self-awareness, you can develop the awareness for how others interact with your style.
I like that. Yeah. I think another mistake I was making here was my eyes were at their eyes, where it's I got to be watching their shoulders, their elbows, right?
Yeah, you're kind of watching the base of the neck, like right here.
Okay.
Head movement can kind of trick people out. People that are really good with head movement, they can make you think they're in one place, and then it's almost like they teleport to another place.
I'm not great with that. Yeah.
When you watch the top of the trunk, you're seeing shoulders, you're seeing hands, you're seeing a little bit of head movement, but you kind of have a soft focus at the center of someone. Also, if you fight someone with a lot of head movement, you don't really want to throw at the head. You want to throw at the base of the neck, because just like a counter puncher, just like a gambit, you're going to get overextended, thinking you're going to land a punch, and then they're going to come back and knock you out.
Funny. So you were the most recent American world champion, the only.
No, my teammate in 2018, Kevin Von Carber, also won his weight division.
Okay, and then you won.
So I say first American world champion because technically I was the first to win, just sequentially, because he was the weight division above me. So he technically fought after me. So I fought and I was medaled before him.
It's in those past 7 years, there's not been one?
There's not been another, no.
Wow. exciting.
I like that response. Yeah, break the streak, break the curse.
Yeah, for real. I'll go watch Rocky 4.
Yeah, the
now.
year I went back, I played a 2200. Who was a very new boxer. I knocked him down twice in the boxing round. I almost had a third stoppage, and he checkmated me in the third round.
Ooh.
So I got unseated by a chess player like you.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, that makes me feel better.
He took a little bit of a beating, though. Just fair warning.
Okay. Oh, man. And you fight out of the shell, too, right?
Yeah, I came after him, though. I knew he was much stronger in chess, so I wasn't waiting back and counterpunching. I was attacking him, which isn't my natural style either. So, that's I'm not as effective when I do that. I like fighting guys like you. I like being a matador. I like bulls rushing in, thinking they can hit me, and then wearing them out and surprising them.
You can bet if we chess boxed, I would. If you wanted to stay in the shell, I'm happy to stand there. But yeah.
Well, I'd have to force the issue with you. And even if we sparred, I would not jeopardize your chances of going to the world championship. So I don't think us chess boxing is much is going to happen. I might get you a little tired and beat you up a little bit, but you're going to checkmate me. I mean, I don't see any other outcome with our chess discrepancy.
Appreciate you, Matt. Okay, so you'll be back for another showcase in February.
Yeah, late February, early March, somewhere around there. I'll be back for another training, and then I think this bigger New York chess boxing event where these 3 clubs are coming together to host something. I think that's more likely to be like late April.
Oh, okay.
Late April, early May.
Awesome. That'll be like structured matches, yeah.
Yeah, crowd matches. So we'll have at least one more sparring session where I'm up there for it. Hopefully you guys are sparring without me too, but when I'm there, I can just be more hands-on. Next time I should be able to spar myself too. This last surgery was the one that they didn't want me sparring before, but now I think I should be good.
Yeah. Okay, well, happy to hear it.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I'm pumped you're involved. I'm excited to see your journey, your evolution.
Me too.
I'm excited you're going to track it too and share it with more of the chess community. And
that's the plan.
And I think a lot of your
I cannot be more excited to be a part of this.
Hell yeah, dude. Awesome. Well, big things to come. Thanks for hanging out. That was a long review session. Right. That was awesome.
This is great. This is great content. I learned so much.
Cool. Good. We'll do more.
All right. Thanks,
all right, bro.
Thanks so much, Matt.
Take care. Talk to you later.
I am going to be the chess boxing world champion. What the heck does that mean? So chess boxing is an incredibly unique and awesome sport where, against the same opponent, you play chess for a few minutes, then, assuming there's no winner yet, you pause the game, get in the ring, and box for a few minutes. And then, assuming there's no winner yet, after just getting in bed, you go back to the chessboard. This keeps repeating until someone wins by checkmate or by knockout. So chess boxing as a sport rose to prominence when, about a year ago, Ludwig, the world's most popular live streamer, did a huge chess boxing event with other YouTubers. Millions of people tuned in to watch live. However, that was not the World Chess Boxing Championships. That'll be in October in France with me there. But historically, the World Chess Boxing Championships have been dominated by countries like Russia, where chess boxing is actually trained from a young age. Who am I to think that I can beat these Europeans? My name is William Grafe. I'm 25 years old. I'm a data scientist in finance. Unfortunately, this New York City one-bedroom does not pay for itself. However, I'm also a pretty good chess player. I'm the current New York State chess champion. I've loved the game so much my whole life, both competing and teaching it in elementary school just to little kids. I made 7-year-old me very happy a couple months ago when I won the New York State Chess Championships. But so now I have a new goal, and that is to be the World Chess Boxing Champion. Okay, so I'll be the best chess player there, but when it comes to the boxing, I'm just a guy. I love boxing, but watching Muhammad Ali and being Muhammad Ali are not the same thing. But I've been training, and I've had my first couple chess boxing matches already, actually. They went well against my American teammates. The boxing went all right, and I won both matches on the chessboard, and my bruise even healed pretty quick. Anyway, we got a long way to go. Follow me to stay tuned on my journey to becoming the World Chess Boxing Champion.